Over the past 10 years, some of the greatest moments in all of sports happened right here on Fox.
Rips one, goodbye! Rocket homers in his final All-Star game.
This is a presentation of Fox Sports, celebrating 10 years of excellence.
It's a happening you can't afford to miss. Fox will put you in the driver's seat for the hottest ride in racing. Kurt Busch has been hot, winning 3 of his last 4 trips to Bristol. 2 poles this year led Ryan Newman to a 5th and 6th place finish. Will pole number 3 be any different? Jeff Gordon, coming off his worst finish in 2 years, had a wreck last week. Controversy ensued. We'll cover that story. And Rusty Wallace, 9 wins here, hoping to end his string of 103 races without a victory. It's time for NASCAR on Fox.
Welcome to Bristol. I'm telling you right now, there's going to be a lot of action here today. This place brings out the best in guys. It brings out the worst in guys. This is where the fun starts.
Well, he went down to dinner in Sunday best. Excitable boy, they all say. Well, he's just an excitable boy. After 10 long years, they let him out of the home. Excitable boy, they all say. He's just an excitable boy.
The NFL has Lambeau Field in Green Bay, baseball has Fenway Park in Boston, and NASCAR has the friendly confines of Bristol Motor Speedway, a shrine to the sport. Today, Bristol, the 3rd most populated city in Tennessee, and when it isn't race day, it's the 23rd most populated. 160,000 people gathering here in this Coliseum-like setting for NASCAR, the toughest ticket in racing. And we welcome you to the Hollywood Hotel. Hi, along with Darrell Waltrip, Jeff Hammond. I'm Chris Myers. It's where America gathers every weekend here on Fox. For NASCAR and Bristol, it's special. I mean, we're talking double a Super Bowl crowd for this. And what makes it so special, Darrell?
Well, first of all, this is a little track with a big, bad attitude. I mean, that's one thing that makes it special. The other thing is when you come in here, you know it's going to be exciting. You know you're going to have to be lucky, going to have to be good, and you're going to have that attitude, baby.
Yep. And, you know,
He's got some attitude. You know,
he always
right
does.
there, always has attitude.
Mark
for sure.
Martin, he described it, Jeff, as flying a jet fighter in a basketball arena. I mean, this bowl effect with the cars going around.
It really is, Chris. I mean, this place is so fast. I mean, everything happens so quickly. And the thing I kept thinking about, this racetrack is punishing on cars. It's punishing on drivers. So I got a new nickname for it. It's called the Punisher.
Oh, no. This is the devil in disguise. Oh, yes, you are.
Yeah, you know all about that.
You won 12 times in Bristol, 7 in a row. Of course, DW has a book out, so it's worth hearing. You know, you talked about attitude, something you talk about in the book. But what's the maddest you've ever been? When you ever get out of your car and get after it at this track?
Yeah, I hopped out of my car here one day and run up and had a little discussion with Davey Allison. He spun me down the front straight away, and I didn't hit anything, so I had a chance to go talk to him afterwards. That's about the maddest I've ever been here. But I came here with that attitude. You figure this joint out, and you can win a lot of races here. I always felt like my car's red hot. Your car ain't doodly squat.
By the way, he misspelled Darrell. Did you notice on this?
Yeah, I noticed that right there.
Are you writing another one? Is that I heard that?
No. Yeah, I'm writing another one.
Oh, please. Sorry.
It'll be really good.
Sure. No, this one's good,
you think this one is?
This was on the bestseller list.
I didn't realize you knew how to read until I saw the pictures.
All right,
read about yourself.
We saw yesterday, of course, Kevin Harvick in today's race, Saturday's Busch race. I mean, there was a line at the NASCAR hauler where afterwards, and there'll be some fines, right? And some people may be put on probation. It's what you expect when you come here.
It's always happening that way here. When you come to Bristol, you always tell your driver, you tell your crew, leave your feelings outside and be smarter than the competition. But guess what? It never works. Look, right there. It goes to show you. David Stremme, all these guys up in that trailer, along with your brother, little Mike. What's he doing
Johnny
up in there?
Benson, the whole crowd up in there.
When you know that you're going to come in, do you guard against the temper? You have to do some kind of temper defense mechanism?
Anger management.
You could use anger management here. But let me tell you, I raced all over this country on short tracks all over America. And I don't know what it is about Bristol, but we always have more controversy, more people mad, more people wanting to fight, more people getting fined, more people getting on probation from this racetrack than anywhere else we go.
That's why it's the race people want to attend. You know, a guy with a lot of attitude, 25-year-old Kurt Busch, a high-stakes driver from Las Vegas. Nearly half of his career wins have come here, and they've come with a lot of controversy. And Kurt's a guy who loves to see Bristol in his rear-view mirror.
Busch leads Jimmy Spencer after a game of bumper tag. Kurt Busch is a first-time Winston Cup winner at Bristol. Kurt Busch has taken the lead from Matt Kenseth. Second straight Food City 500 win for Kurt Busch.
That 97 car, the further we go in the race, the better he gets.
Same thing he did here before.
Well, yesterday, Kurt Busch was with us here in the Hollywood Hotel. Today, joining us live from down on the track where he's getting ready to get in his car and race. Kurt, how you doing, by the way? You all right?
I'm doing okay. You guys are pushing it kind of close to race time, though.
It's all right.
My crew guys are pulling chips out of the hat to see who's going to drive, and I'll commentate.
This is all access here. You're getting us closer to the action. Now, Kurt, how have you adjusted your aggressive style for this race without losing your edge?
Well, this is one place where you just got to check everything at the door. You come in with a fresh attitude every time. No matter if you ran into the wall on lap 1 last time or you got taken out on lap 499. It's a place where every part of the race has its own section of when you can attack the racetrack, when you can pass cars, and how you approach that, how you pass cars. So I'm just waiting for the end of the race like we normally do here at Bristol. With 400 laps or so under the books, we're going to get our set of tires. Maybe it's going to be 50 laps to go this time because of the softer compound. We'll adjust accordingly as the race progresses, and we'll see if we can bring the Sharpie 40th anniversary car to victory lane.
Hey, Kurt, this is DW. What do you think? More important here, car or driver?
I think the driver has to have the mindset here. I believe the way that the timesheets are so close, half a second from first to last, a car can help you achieve a smoother mindset because of the handling characteristic of the car. But there's going to be 15 guys at the end of this race that can win, and it's going to be the guy that's got the cleanest looking car and just the biggest open mind on nobody's ruffling me up, nobody's going to take me and do this to me. I'm going to be the guy. I want it in my court, and I want to try to take it to victory lane. That's the guy that usually has some success.
But now, Kirk, this is Hammond. Now, you say that, but if somebody goes out there on lap 10 and starts beating on you, buddy, are you going to just put it away and say, oh, it's okay, or are you going to retaliate?
Now, you got to let things fly. I mean, you can have the whole rear end of your car knocked off. The first race I won here back in 2002, we got in a melee because I qualified poorly on the back straightaway. We ruffled up the front end. We had to take all the tape off the grill. Now the car's pushing. We had to make adjustments through the whole day. And so you never let one circumstance get you down because it's not the end of the race yet.
All right, well, Kurt, thanks for that live, up-to-the-minute report. Our Cub reporter tracks on. You got a gig if you don't want to race. Good luck today in the 97 car.
I'm going to take this wheel and drop the mic.
Okay.
All right.
We appreciate Kurt Busch being with us. He, of course, fourth in the Nextel Cup Championship points race. Kenseth and Earnhardt running 1-2, keeping that rivalry at full throttle.
Yeah, and yesterday, man, in practice, Dale Jr. got into the back of Kenseth and almost sent him sailing. So, and that's how close together they were on the track. They'll be that way today, too.
Jeff, Kevin Harvick leading the group of the second 10.
Yeah, the second 10. These guys are in pretty good shape right now, but they definitely want to try to get back in the top 10. But guys like Kevin Harvick here at Bristol, they can be dangerous.
All right, Jeff Gordon, the four-time series champion, in 13th place due to a wreck that took place early in last week's race. Gordon, 5 wins here at Bristol. He's going to go bumper to bumper with the usual suspects, Tony Stewart, Ryan Newman, Kenseth, and Jr. But then there's going to be some slower suspects in the 43-car field. These back-of-the-pack cars known as field fillers, and this is an issue that's not going to go away. We saw it front and center last week when Gordon slammed into Andy Hillenberg's floundering car, igniting field filler debate.
Tony runs up on this slow car, and I know he's probably thinking, you know, this guy needs to get out of my way. I'm a fast car.
Jeff Gordon piled into Hillenberg.
That's going to be a big hit for him.
We come in here, and this is the big boys, and slow car and fast car, and fast car hits a slow car, and it's a slow car's fault. Sorry for Jeff Gordon. I feel bad.
I know it wasn't Andy Hillenberg's fault, but there's a lot of guys out there that don't belong out there that are just so far off the pace that something needs to be done about that.
It's hard enough to drive a good fast car here. It's miserable to try to drive a slow car here and stay out of people's way.
And as 43 cars and their drivers get ready to go racing here, we asked NASCAR President Mike Helton about field fillers.
In relation to last week's accident, that accident could have happened with any type of car. It could have been a faster car. But we have minimum speeds, and we police those minimum speeds, and we'll do it consistently this week as we have done all year long. In the meantime, things can happen on the racetrack, and this one is not one, though, that we think warrants any change from our side.
I talked with Mike Helton this morning. 6 or 7 years ago, they established 43 cars. That's the standard. Do you think there should be less based on this problem?
Well, what I would do is look at the size of the racetrack. You know, if a 2.5-mile track like Daytona, 43 is great. Half-mile like Bristol need about 36. But let me tell you something that always told me. You got to have some slow cars. for the fast ones to pass.
That's exactly right. When you think about that, guys, NASCAR's come up with a formula so they can kind of keep up with that. They take the fastest practice lap out of the final practice or happy hour and determine what the minimum speed is. And this week, as far as Bristol's concerned, a 17.16 second lap is what they're going to put up with, and nothing slower.
Yeah, no imminent change, not considering anything right now as far as field fillers, so drivers will have to do their best. No one would ever call Greg Biffle a field filler. His crew winning $20,000, the weekly prize in the McDonald's drive-thru hit championship fueled by Powerade. It was for their work at Darlington. In the overall standings, Kurt Busch's crew is leading Tony Stewart. Now, to win today's 500-lap race, drivers are going to have to control their engines, egos, and emotions. So this may only be a half-mile track, but as DW explains, Bristol has all kinds of hot spots.
When you're racing at Bristol, a lot of contact, a lot of emotion. You keep your cool, you can end up here. Now, if you can't keep your cool, you're going to end up here at the Oval Office. And this is my hot spot for this week. Lose your temper, he'll help you find it.
Hey, you know what? He looked like the Grim Reaper in yellow right there. Hey, where did Hammond go, your buddy?
I don't know where Hammond went, but I think he's down there already pounding. I hear him pounding on something.
There's some noise.
Well, all the beating and banging on the track here at Bristol is going to mean one thing. A lot more beating and banging as far as inside the garage area and on pit road. And if you can't beat it out, well, the next thing you got to do, you're going to have to just cut it away. That's all you got to do. Stop. That's what it's going to take, Chris.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Jeff Gordon last week was beating and banging. That was in his hauler after he got knocked out early. He starts on the front row today for the 5th straight time here at Bristol. And last week he lasted only 27 laps. We thought we'd give Jeff a few more. I invited Gordon to play our Get-to-Know-You choice game, 10 laps win. We're taking laps with Jeff Gordon. East Coast or West Coast?
Gosh, I got to say East Coast because I love New York.
Fishing or hunting?
Neither. Scuba diving.
Okay, diving. Rap or rock?
Rap, for sure.
An earring or a tattoo?
Tattoo.
Blonde or brunette?
All the above.
Okay, that's fair. Pamela Anderson or Jennifer Lopez?
Neither.
Really?
No.
All right.
Do you have some different girls in your lineup there that you can mention besides the...
Yeah, Molly Sims, right?
Molly Sims.
All right, yeah, see, now we're in the ballpark. John Elway or Joe Montana?
Joe Montana, baby.
He's
49.
LeBron James or Carmelo Anthony?
LeBron.
Video games or cards?
Cards. And video games. I love them both, but lately it's been cards.
All right, and this game or torture?
Torture.
Okay, great. Thanks for playing. All right, appreciate it. And, you know, we torture because we care. He's a good sport. You're back from your beating things up.
I'm getting ready, guys.
Does this work?
That works. Hey, careful now. You don't handle that stuff.
You're not a trained professional. Don't do that.
Don't touch that.
By the way, this is Thunder Valley. Tony Schumacher of NHRA fame is here. And you got a letter from a 12-year-old who drives.
This is Ashley Martin. She's 11 years old, and she just put boogity, boogity, boogity on the side of her junior dragster and went out and won her first race. Congratulations to Ashley. She's from down in Alabama.
Other than the boogity booty, she's a bright girl.
Hey,
I'm kidding. All right, so you're going to head up to the booth with Larry, Mike, Paul, Ray. You're going to control your...
Time out. I got the floor.
What's the matter?
Guess what?
What?
Today,
oh, you don't.
It's your birthday.
Happy
birthday.
Thank you. Now I'm old enough. I can hang with Dick Berggren. And,
we got you a cake. Yeah, really do.
Jeannie's Alaska going to pop out of that
thing? No.
Yeah, you'd be wishing she
Here you go,
you guys are all wet.
Look here.
All right, I'm old enough I can hang with Dick Berggren and watch Matlock.
The candles out?
All right, let's go trackside.
Invocation to be delivered by the Reverend Mike Rife of the Van Sant Church of Christ in Van Sant, Virginia.
Dear God, since we were here this time last year, so many things have changed. Families and names and teams and even sponsors. But one thing that hasn't changed is you. And God, we're thankful that we can always depend on you. As you have always delivered to us safety and entertainment in the past, we ask once again today, God, that you will provide for us a safe and entertaining race. And we pray this prayer in the name that is the same yesterday, today, and forever, Jesus. Amen.
Please remain standing for our national anthem to be sung today by the Mountain Mission School Concert Choir from Grundy, Virginia.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early lights what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose bright stars and bright stars through the perilous fights o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, their bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does the star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Always a race so loaded with patriotism, but as the drivers make their ways to their cars, 16 states represented. Sterling Marlin, the only driver from Tennessee, as the wheel turns in a moment. And Darrell with Mike Joy and Larry McReynolds.
Today's episode of As the Wheel Turns is brought to you by Anger Management.
Today I thought I'd give you a little lesson in anger management. Things can get pretty heated down there in Thunder Valley.
He's about the most impatient thing. I'll be waiting when he comes in here.
Even your closest friends aren't so friendly here at the fastest half mile.
DW is right. They were saying push, push, push. Go with that. Don't worry. Be happy.
I told my students, you have to control your anger.
I don't understand what DW's talking about. Anger management class stuff. I'm not angry. I'm sensitive. Hey, get out of the way. Come on, man. What are you doing? Get out of here.
Especially when the race is over.
Damn 31 wouldn't get out of the way.
I don't know why he would be running into me after the race.
Because he don't pay attention. He don't know what he's doing.
He tried to run me into pit wall, so I hit him back.
Of course, Hammond and I, we didn't get mad. We just got even. Have a nice day, boys.
As the Wheel Turns.
Today will be the 87th Cup race in Thunder Valley. Since Jack Smith won in 1961, 3 times the average speed here has been under 70 miles an hour. They've been slowed by caution flags, but they fly around here. Hi, everybody. Mike Joy with Larry McReynolds. And Larry, what is your one and most important goal as a crew chief for getting through Bristol?
Is to be able to load it in the hauler at the end of the day. I mean, they're running around here, Mike, in 15 and a half, 16 seconds. It's just a challenge to stay on the lead lap. And you know what? Crew chiefs can stay up all night long. Every week I talk about strategy, but when it comes to strategy, you don't plan here. You have to react.
Look behind us. These 160,000 people didn't come here to see great strategy. They came here to see if this was going to be the fender flailingest, wall bangingest, temper flaringest race since yesterday. And we're about to find out. In front of this huge crowd at the world's fastest half mile. Let's go trackside for the command.
And now for the words we've all been waiting for. Food City 500 Grand Marshal, Congressman Rick Boucher.
And now I have the honor of saying, gentlemen, start your engines.
the only racetrack in the world, I believe, where you can hear the fans above the noise of the cars. Let's join Jeannie Zelasco.
Yeah, I can say that that is true, Mike Joy. This place is awesome, and it has left more than one driver awestruck. Take Casey Kane, who was spotted standing on pit road yesterday. He was staring at the fans at the track. It was as if he was being swallowed up. He was described as being in a trance. He was awoken by his crew chief, Tommy Baldwin Jr., who said, Casey, are you okay? And the rookie turned around and had just a couple of words. Bristol, man. Matt?
Jeannie, Dale Earnhardt Jr. will tell you Bristol's a very special place. 25 years ago, then 4-year-old Junior saw his dad score his first next to a Cup win right here in Thunder Valley. 6 times his Busch team finished second here at Bristol, never winning. He has 2 top 5s here. He told me he won yesterday. That was special as an owner, but he wants to get that big check off his racing resume of winning here at Bristol. He said a win here would be bigger than Indy. He said it would be humongous, colossal, and universal. In Junior speak, I guess that means it would be very big. To Nick Berggren.
In the spring of 2001, Elliott Sadler won here at Bristol. He called it the biggest win of his entire career, and indeed it was. It was also an improbable win because he demolished his primary car in practice, had to start dead last, 43rd in that race, passed everybody to win. He's got a better shot at it today because he starts in 9th, but it's been 107 starts for Elliott since he has won a race. He says this is Bristol, the improbable could happen, and he may well again drive into victory lane. To Steve Burns.
When this racetrack opened in 1961, 25,000 fans sat on a combination of concrete bleachers, or they just sat up on the hills on the other side. Today, 160,000 fans circle a racetrack that at its highest point is over 20 stories tall.
They have built seats and suites here to the sky because of such a great demand. There are condos to come as they keep expanding Bristol Motor Speedway. Log on to foxsports.com to win a chance to be the virtual crew chief of the singular team at the July 3rd Nextel Cup race. Robbie Gordon at the ready, and we are too. We're about to go racing for 500 laps in Thunder Valley. NASCAR Nextel Cup Racing on Fox is presented by Quaker State. The power to reduce friction. Budweiser, official beer of NASCAR, proud sponsor of the Bud Poll Award, given to the fastest qualifier at each Nextel Cup race. Today's Bud Poll goes to Ryan Newman. 3 for 6. Wow, 50% poll winning average since 1979. Anheuser-Busch has put more than $8 million into the Poll Award program. Our grid will crawl across the bottom of the screen as these cars crawl around the half-mile Bristol Motor Speedway, and we're just about a lap and a half to green.
I mean, we've got a unique pit road situation here. We have 2 pit roads, but they use it like one. You enter here in turn 2, you have to go all the way around on the apron here, and you exit in turn 1, and that makes it like one pit road, 30 miles per hour. A unique situation is of our 4 of our top 5 qualifiers picked all over the place. Ryan Newman, who sat on the pole, he picked right here. Greg Biffle, who qualified 3rd, he picked over here in turn 4. Casey Kane, who qualified 5th, he picked here in turn 2, and then Jeff Gordon, who sat on the outside pole, he picked right here in turn 3. So we've got 4 of our top 5 qualifiers all over the place to try to have that opening.
Darrell Waltrip joins us. Darrell, what gets you so excited about this place, other than the big billboard out back, a grandstand in your name, and being the track's all-time winner?
Well, there's 160,000 people here, Mike. I'm worried about 42. That's all I got to worry about. I don't even know these other 160,000 are here, but this is a great, I mean, it's so much ambiance here.
Oh, you'll know. Can you hear the crowd from the car?
Yeah, I'd say that Kurt Busch, Jeff Gordon, the late Dale Earnhardt, me, we've all heard them at one time or another.
500 laps. We're ready to go. We hope you're ready to go.
DW, 500 laps, like Mike said. Please, half-mile racetrack, reach up there 2 or 3 times here. Pull those belts tight one more time.
Yeah, I want to get all my fans out there, get everybody on their feet. I want y'all to help me send these boys off. Let's all give them a big old sound here. What you say, 1, 2, 3, boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, boys.
Jeff
Gordon in the 24 car, he's exactly what he wanted to do there. He wanted to fall back in behind Ryan Newman in the 12 car. They want to run right around the bottom, especially with those fresh tires.
Boy, Jeff got a little squirrely there in the middle of 3 and 4. Still a little twitchy, Jeff is.
A good clean start. The one car was up on the outside, Tony Stewart. And he's not looking for the bottom. He's looking to get past Elliott Sadler.
But right now, he's losing ground, Mike. He has Kevin Harvick in the 29 car behind him. I think these guys right now would like to get to the bottom. Tony Stewart, the 20, finally finds a place on the bottom of the racetrack.
What you normally try to do is work a deal with the guy that's starting on the inside to let you in. But Kevin Harvick didn't work a deal, I can tell you that.
And after yesterday, Kevin Harvick has few friends. He has at least one fewer, David Stremme.
The greatest sound in the world when you're in that position that Kevin Harvick in is when the spotter says clear low.
And the worst sound in the world is when that guy running last says the leader is coming. That happens in about 9 or 10 laps.
Yeah, I mean, we've run 4 laps right now, and Ryan Newman is over a half a lap ahead of the cars at the back. See, Joe Ruttman in the 09 car looks like he's headed to pit road, as well as Andy Hillenberg in the 80 car.
Ruttman is off the track, and Hillenberg in the triplet for Congress Ford is heading for his pit.
This racetrack, you saw in our weather graphic, 80 degrees. It's a full concrete racetrack. The entire surface is concrete. And 36 degrees of banking in the corner. That's more banking than Talladega. 16 degrees on the straightaway. That's more banking than a lot of racetracks have in the corner.
But you know the worst part about all that is? The straightaway is 650 feet long. That's how long you got to rest. That's about a second and a half.
You can take a breath at least.
That's about it.
Kirk Shelmerdine pulls down to the track apron and around to the front stretch pits as he's lapped by Ryan Newman. And Jeff Green, that AOL number 30, is the car that cannot get to the bottom. Kurt Busch goes past on the inside. Oh, and Green had the bottom and slipped up the racetrack.
Whoa, trouble over there. Oh, hang on to her, Ricky. Ricky Rudd in the 21 car and the 30 car there of Sauter just about caused the big one.
I'm sorry, Johnny Sauter, not Jeff Green. That was last year. See how Bristol gets you all confused up?
You're already dizzy.
I know. Greg Biffle slipped up. Jamie McMurray's after him. This is for 5th place. Biffle got high on the racetrack. Murray's going to make the pass.
Yeah, about a lap ago, he got real high off turn 2, and he had to get completely out of the throttle. He lost 2 positions to Rusty Wallace and Casey Kane, and now he'd like to fall back in line, and he will in front of Jamie McMurray in the 42 car.
Yeah, Biffle had an awesome Busch car yesterday, led most of the race, and then got messed up on pit strategy, but his car looks pretty good today as well.
Right now, Ryan Newman, our leader, has up to about a 3/4 of second lead as we got a challenge for second place. Rusty Wallace in the 2. Jeff Gordon saw he caught him. Go on by me. I'm not going to fight you. But there what'll happen, you build that lead up right there, you catch the back of the field, and you lose that lead. It's so hard to pass here.
Jeff Gordon's car is dog meat. I'm telling you, he's bobbing and weaving. He's not getting through the turns well at all. He's losing positions. He's got problems.
He was not very happy with his car yesterday in final practice either.
Well, the saga continues.
Casey Kane has gone to 3rd. That relegates Gordon to 4th. Steve?
Well, Mike, to follow up on what DW just said about Jeff Gordon, Robbie Loomis, the crew chief, said that the car was really good in turns 3 and 4, but they've been fighting a tight race car in turns 1 and 2 all weekend. But Jeff has not said anything since the race started.
Let's go to the 8th place battle, where Elliott Sadler's been trying to battle along there with Brendan Gaughan.
You can't key them, Mike. You just can't say anything. You can't give your crew any much direction right now because you're so busy.
Last week's winner versus last year's winner here, and last fall's winner here, Kurt Busch tracking Jimmy Johnson.
It's a battle for 11th.
Kurt's trying to be patient. Give him credit for that. He's had a couple opportunities to dive in under Jimmy, but he hadn't taken them yet.
Jeffrey Bodine started the Lucas Oil, number 98, and now he is down to the track apron and headed behind the wall. Bodine's start here will get him a place in the Nextel All-Star race at Charlotte in May.
We almost have that. We're about 2 laps away from having the conveyor belt of race cars all the way around this half-mile racetrack.
Johnny Sauter took Dale Jr. to the inside coming down the front straightaway, and then Sauter made room. Jr. opened up the door, Sterling Marlin went by. Kevin Harvick says, hi, how are you, to the left rear quarter panel of Sauter's car, and now Harvick's trying to work his way through.
And that's teammates right there.
I was going to say, and the last guy that was driving that 30 car lost his job for complaining about that.
42 coming with you, one fast. Just be smooth, you'll drive away from him.
Jamie McMurray passed Jeff Gordon. Gordon continuing to back up a bit. Kevin Harvick still trying to look for a way by Johnny Sauter.
There's a conveyor belt. Solid cars all the way around this racetrack.
And it'll be that way until we have enough cautions to eliminate about 8 or 10 of these cars. Then you'll see some good solid racing.
Jeff Gordon from 2nd back to 6th now, Steve.
And Mike, he has spoken. He said the race car is wicked loose. Robbie Loomis said, hang with it, it's going to get better. Jeff just said it's not getting better, it's getting worse.
I'll attest to that. He's got his hands full.
On the leaders, here's Matt.
Small change before the race for Colson and Ryan Newman. His car still a little tight in the center of the corner. Meanwhile, his teammate, Rusty Wallace, trying to break that long windless streak, closing in on the 12 car. His car, awesome, running about a 10th a second a lap better. And also, their third teammate, Brendan Gaughan in the 77, top 10. His car a little on the loose side, but good.
Rusty put so much effort into that race. They built a brand new race car. They came up here and tested for 2 days. He'd love to break that losing streak right here at a place he has 9 wins.
And they made some more changes to that over-the-wall crew.
They continue to do that till they find what they're looking for.
Yeah, Rusty's car is definitely better than Ryan's right now. The 12 is not as good as the 2 right now.
They are fixing to catch lap traffic.
Ryan Newman has led every lap until this one as Wallace drops underneath in turn 3. New leader, Rusty Wallace. You're watching NASCAR Nextel Cup Racing on Fox, presented by Quaker State. "36 laps at Bristol. Rusty Wallace passed Greg Biffle. Then put the move under outside pole sitter Jeff Gordon. And then took on the pole sitter, his Penske teammate, Ryan Newman. Rusty goes to the top of the leaderboard, leading our Dodge front runners. Dodge in the first 4 spots: Wallace, Newman, Kane, and McMurray.
And you might want to check this. That's 38 laps since we dropped the green, and no caution.
I think they all watched yesterday's race, which had a thrilling finish, if you saw it here on Fox, with I would say 2 hits and a payback in the last 4 laps, and then finally a caution flag at the end. They froze the field, some of it melted, and the checkered flag waved.
And could you say tension will build as the day goes along?
Long line at the Oval Office after yesterday.
Oh, there was. What a mess.
Rusty Wallace trying to put Kevin LePage down a lap. Kevin's back in 35th position. Of course, this is the home track for Morgan McClure, but it's taken Rusty about 5 to 6 laps to try to get by Kevin, and he's going to go down swinging.
The 30 car there has gotten shoved up to the outside, and he's doing everything he can to get him a groove up there. He's actually doing a pretty decent job. It's not real easy sledding up there right now, but he's been able to maintain pretty well.
That's Johnny Sauter. He qualified back in 10th position, and he slid back to 23rd. He's one of the few cars that continues to go backwards right now.
Yeah, he's wicked loose, too. I mean, that thing is all over the place. It jumps sideways with him just about every turn.
And Darrell, as I talked to so many crew chiefs this morning, you know, it's always been the fact of trying to get a neutral race car. Not too loose, not pushing. But it's almost like with this grippier tire, with the shorter rear spoiler, that band that you walk on to try to get that neutral car has narrowed up substantially. It's easy to keep jumping the fence back and forth.
Yeah, and you see that black car there with the red numbers on it, the 42 car, Jamie McMurray. He is closing in quickly on Casey Kane in the 9 and Ryan Newman in the 12. He's been coming at a pretty high rate of speed.
This is a... Go ahead.
Newman's car seems to have fallen off over the last 15 laps.
This car is... It just does. That's what they do. They can make it go really, 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 really fast for a couple of laps, but it's getting it to stay consistent.
What I was going to say about Jamie McMurray's car and the 42 car, this is actually a backup car, but it's a backup car that was unloaded right after inspection on Friday. NASCAR confiscated his race car because it did not meet some of the body measurements. So they took the race car, they had to unload this one in practice and qualified. And Jeannie, how about Casey Kane? Little old kid is coming on.
Yeah, how about Casey Kane? His string of 3 top 5s in his first 4 career starts makes him the first driver to accomplish the feat in more than 40 years of NASCAR racing. That is impressive. But what the kid, you know, has top of mind right now is he's never competed at Bristol in a Cup car. I mentioned pre-race, it was very much much on his mind. He said quite a few times on the radio that the car is a little tight in and off, and his crew chief keeps reminding him, it will go away, you will be all right. Dick?
Greg Biffle is pitting off the fourth corner. His crew chief, Doug Richard, is making no attempt to talk to the crew. He is communicating them with a sign board. It is so incredibly loud here. The sounds of the exhaust just bounces off the grandstand, and these guys just can't hear each other at all. They have heard their driver, however, who has dropped from third to fifth, say on the radio that his car is loose, way loose.
When I used to work the pits here, I would ask the question to the crew chief or the driver with the microphone so the folks at home would hear it, but I would show him the question written on a notepad because I knew he couldn't hear me.
Well, and Greg Biffle, that group is pitting right here off of turn 4. There's no wall to block the noise there, so that even magnifies it.
Rusty Wallace, 2 seconds out in front of Casey Kane in the Food City 500 at Bristol. We've been caution-free through the first 50 laps. NASCAR Nextel Cup Racing on Fox is presented by Quaker State, the power to reduce friction. And brought to you by Lowe's, improving home improvement. The new Chevrolet, an American revolution. And by Mach 3 Turbo Champion, the only razor used by the Gillette Young Guns. Remind me to never again say we're caution-free at Bristol. Casey Kane has thumped the wall really hard in turn number 2 after contact from Jamie McMurray.
Well, let's see what happened here. I got a feeling Murray's up on the outside here. This is coming there. This hadn't happened yet. It's getting ready to.
Of course, they were battling for second place.
Ooh, he's up there. He's up there. Gosh, he was trying to give him room to get down and didn't quite give him enough room. I mean, Jamie had a run on him. Then he realized that I think Casey didn't realize he was there possibly. And that's where the spotter, that is so close right there between what the driver's decision will do and what the spotter tells you.
This is Casey Kane's onboard camera.
And that hurts just as bad as it sounds.
Casey Kane's crew.
Oh, yeah.
Tommy Baldwin, crew chief.
Of course, he comes in here 5th in points, and a pit road will be a very busy place for all the lead lap cars. In fact, there's 28 of them. This will be 4 tires and adjustments.
Now, they pit on both sides of the racetrack, but must enter under caution at turn 2 and come all the way around if they're pitted on the front side. Steve.
Mike, 4 tires for Jeff Gordon. He said that car was wicked loose. He cannot get on the gas like he wants to coming off the center. So they'll also make a big adjustment in the track bar down a round and a half. Dick.
Greg Biffle in the pits. He doesn't like the chassis on the car. He's a bit loose coming off. He's also overheating. He is on the front stretch. They're going to pull all the tape off the nose of that car to try and cool it off. 4 tire change to Matt.
Rusty Wallace in, no adjustments. It's a 16 car. Greg Biffle is out. They're already going to work on the left side of the Dodge, left side of the 20. His car tight. Rusty Wallace down and away. They pulled a piece of tape off the grill, and service is completed for both smoke and the 77 and 97. The water was 220. The oil had climbed to 245 on Rusty's Dodge.
Rusty, Greg Biffle, Tony Stewart, and then perhaps Ryan Newman.
But Rusty Wallace almost was blocked in by his teammate, Ryan Newman. It was very, very close.
Now, these are the length of pit road times from entry to exit.
Including the stop.
Matt?
Larry Mack, and you talked about pitting. All 3 Penske cars are in the first 3 pit stalls, and that's the reason why the Gibbs guys, no matter if they qualify 1-2, they do not select pits next to each other. They don't want to take a chance of messing up their teammate here on pit road.
Every time at a place like Bristol or Martinsville, Dover, tight pit roads, that our teammates pitted beside each other, normally it was a very interesting Monday morning.
Casey Kane has had a stellar rookie season so far. Today, the glass slipper broke. That was the drive shaft in Brian Vickers' car, who has coasted to pit road.
Something's going on there, because remember at Atlanta 2 or 3 weeks ago in practice, they had a drive shaft come out of that race car.
And we're under caution for the 2nd time today. Now you see why those shafts are required to be painted white so they can be spotted out on the racetrack. We dropped the green, ran 2 laps. Robbie Gordon was the first car lap down. He did not get a lap back from Rusty Wallace, but now he will be the free pass car, just as Terry Labonte was from the first caution of the day. Jeannie?
Well, the verdict is still out as to the total.
We're on lap 60 or whatever it was, and I mean, it's just stupid what he did. I don't know. He got me here in my first race, and he got me again today in my first Cup race, so we'll get him back sometime soon.
All right, guys, I guess the warning is out. Obviously, we've got an issue, gentlemen.
But see how drivers are? I mean, they can remember back 2 and 3 years ago when somebody did something to them, it's particularly if it's the same somebody. Quite honestly, that's hard to call right there. I mean, I guess you could blame Jamie for sticking his nose, but he's got to run on.
Casey Kane climbed out of the car and looked at the replay up on the screen.
Obviously very upset.
I mean, Jeff Hammond talked about it in the pre-race. You know, you bring your feelings in this racetrack, you're going to get them hurt.
Steve?
Mike, want to follow up on Jamie McMurray. He spun trying to avoid Casey Kane. He didn't hit anything, but when he came to his team, caught it, stopped work, pushed him back, then completed their service. He dropped 25 positions in that whole scenario.
So he is now 26th out of what will be 29 cars on the lead lap when we go back to green. NASCAR on Fox, presented by Quaker State, is brought to you by UPS, the official express delivery company of NASCAR. We want to race the truck. People love the truck. Green flag, and we restart to begin lap 74 of 500. Here at Bristol, Rusty Wallace has now led 3,500 career laps at Bristol Motor Speedway.
They're the real challenge on restarts. Rusty Wallace in the 2-car in first, Greg Biffle in the 16, now Tony Stewart in the 20 and 30 is trying to clear those lap cars on the inside.
Yeah, there's so much dirt and debris up on that outside lane that when you're even out there on a restart, you pick up a lot of it, and you wonder why they're not running out there. Well, you look at the racetrack, it's pretty dirty.
The field gets a little sorted out here under green. Stewart gets under Biffle, and Tony will take second place, as we want to show you what happened up here to Brian Vickers, the Busch Series champ, as he loses a drive shaft in 2 pieces.
Yeah, that's it. Something going on there, boys. Need to check into that.
Just very lucky it didn't go through someone else's grill, through their radiator, through a windshield.
And let's check with Jeff Hammond as Tony Stewart is running down race leader Rusty Wallace.
Guys, you can see right here, this is the drive shaft in our cutaway engine. It connects the transmission to the rear gear. We're going to take it out of gear and study it just a little bit. When the drive shaft came out from underneath the Brian Vickers car, it appeared to me it was in one piece. So undoubtedly, either something broke, either on the rear end housing, which holds this yoke area, holds the drive shaft together, or maybe one of these little dog rings, U-bolts they call it, may have broken also. But most definitely it's come apart. The team will now have to probably replace the rear gear and possibly even the transmission before they can go back on the racetrack. Because usually when this drive shaft comes out, it tears up a lot of stuff.
Thanks, Jeff. It is Wallace, Stewart, Biffle, Ryan Newman, the pole sitter, and rookie Brendan Gaughan, the top 5, as the battle is joined for the lead.
I definitely think the car that has passed the most cars, and a lot of help from that Greg Zipadelli-led crew, is Tony Stewart, the 20 car. Started back in 12th. Now he's up there battling for the lead. Rusty don't want to give the bottom of the racetrack up, and Matt, that makes it very hard to pass when you can't get underneath them.
Tony Stewart living by his motto here at Bristol to go fast, get off the throttle early, get back on it early. They made a slight air pressure adjustment back on lap 61 to help the car. He started out a little too tight as he makes the move on Rusty Wallace to take the lead. It's been feast or famine here at Bristol for Tony Stewart, Dick.
Look, on the last pit stop, Greg Biffle came in second and went out second, but they were going to pull tape off the nose of that race car because the engine was running hot. They didn't get the tape off, but just a few moments ago, Biffle keyed his radio and said he's up to 240 degrees. Kurt Busch also running hot. He's at 210.
Thanks, Dick. Tony Stewart becomes the 3rd different leader of today's race. Let's show you how he got it.
Oh, yeah, and it's that old bump and run thing, you know. He just runs down in the corner. He's quicker than Rusty, and he gets underneath him. He's already hit him a couple of times, gives him a shot,
Rusty's got to grab the wheel, run it up the track, and by goes Tony.
Takes you that whole corner to gather it back up.
I got a feeling that there might be a payback coming for that one because Rusty is hungry. He's got the gusto of a hungry hound right now.
Yeah, right now he's running over a 10th quicker than leader Tony Stewart in the 20.
This group is 4th on back. Newman, Gone, Busch, Gordon, Earnhardt Jr., and Johnson.
Tell you what, Earnhardt Jr., second in the points. He qualified back in 18th position. Now he's up here in the 8th position. Come up here and tested for 2 days, and I think that test definitely paid off. They came here and tested after that disaster at Las Vegas.
You know, Larry, 85% of the wins come here from. So that statistic might get a little work done on it today.
Singular Wireless Virtual Crew Chief question. Vote now from your Singular phone by sending text message Fox to phone number 191 or visit foxsports.com to vote online, and stay tuned for the results. "90 laps this time by. Tony Stewart, 3rd, different. Our pole sitter Ryan Newman has slipped back to 4th. Matt?
Mike, when you talk about noise here at Bristol, it is so loud that actually Matt Borland and car chief Chad Norris were writing notes back and forth about the air pressures they want to make to the tires for Ryan Newman's next stop. It's loose side entry, a little tight off. They made an air and track bar adjustment on their first stop. It's helped, but it hasn't helped enough. They're going to make significant air pressure adjustments on their next stop. Steve Burns?
Well, Matt, to follow up on Brian Vickers, he's sitting behind pit road. 12 different mechanics working on this race car. As Jeff Hammond said, they have in fact changed the gear. They've changed. They will put in a new drive shaft, and they're going to have to replace the transmission. Brian does not know what happened to the race car. He said nobody hit him. All of a sudden, he felt the car break loose, and that was all she wrote.
On the right of your screen, Jeremy Mayfield underneath Mark Martin. Jeremy's the driver who said a race at Bristol is like 500 laps in a clothes dryer. Every once in a while, somebody loses a sock.
Or you get a sock.
Yeah, right. Get one, give one. Robbie Gordon back on the lead lap. Tracking Terry Labonte there at 26th place. Let's move it on up to 7th place. Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt Jr. From the car he described as all over the place in the first run.
Yeah, it's you know, they can work. They wave that magic wand. Them crew chiefs all got one of them. They do that bibbity bobbity boo on them, and the next thing you know, you got a great car.
You know, after qualifying Friday, guys, a guy that I was very impressed with, Brendan Gaughan in that 77 car, the Kodak car, and they were junk yesterday in practice, but I think they put their heads together, Matt, with the 12 in the 2 car, and that car's sitting there running 5th right now.
The benefits of great resources like Ryan Newman and Rusty Wallace. An awesome day so far for Brendan Gaughan. His crew chief Shane Wilson put 4 scuffed tires on the first stop and made an air pressure adjustment to try to fix the tight under throttle condition. But one of his advisors, so to speak, Buddy Baker, tried to help Brendan with his driving earlier in the race. He got too high. That's how Tony Stewart got by. Buddy said that's the perfect example of why you got to keep it on the bottom.
And Matt, what they mean by scuffed tires, yesterday in one of those practice sessions, a lot of teams, to try to cure the tires, went out and run each set of tires 4 or 5 laps, and that's what we call a scuffed set of tires. Plus, it lets you learn the characteristics of that set of tires.
Yeah, and you may want to decide not to put those tires on Sunday.
Oh, Jeff Burton in trouble off the front bumper of Kevin Harvick.
Bobby Labonte, the 18 cars involved.
That's the battle we were just watching. Matt Kenseth was right behind him when it happened.
Poor old Bobby Labonte. I think I've seen him get in more trouble here by someone else's mistakes than maybe anybody racing here today.
Jeff Burton, that Roush team, still hunting for a full-time sponsor. And they were running well. That battle was for 17th. Burton's car is pretty well banged up, as is Labonte's. Of course, here at Bristol, those are relative terms.
Yeah, Labonte's car's got, I saw steam coming out of it. He got water coming out the right front side there, and the fender all banged in, so he's going to have some work to do. 3rd caution of the day because of this. Kevin Harvick had been couldn't keep his car on the bottom. Looks like Burton thinks he's clear of Harvick, and he comes up in front of him. Jeff was not quite clear of the 29 car Harvick.
Our points leader, Matt Kenseth, in the 17 just skimmed by.
Lucky, isn't he?
Yeah, he looked like the 17 right now is going to be right in the middle of this.
It just tickles. Really lucky, isn't he?
And Schrader. Not and Schrader, and Schrader. Kenny Schrader. Kenny Schrader zipped right on through.
How many times have we said that 17 car is lucky? Oh, yeah, it's just.
I mean, Daryl, Kevin did nothing wrong.
No. The spotter either cleared the 99 up or he just misjudged.
And you know, I think Bobby Labonte felt like that Jeff Burton was going to slide down the racetrack, and he didn't, Daryl.
Yeah, he's going so fast, not much reaction time here.
One telling point about the replay from Kevin Harvick, and I want you to listen. Kevin's often been accused of making contact, keeping his foot down, and driving through it. And for those of you who think that, in this case, he did not. He makes contact, and you hear him lift and try to keep the situation from becoming worse. Caution is out for the third time in 100 laps at Bristol. Pit stops, Dick Berggren.
Greg Biffle in, the temperature now down to 220 degrees, so they're going to leave the tape alone on the nose of the car, in no small part because he has been very fast as the leaders. To Matt.
Gas man Jeff Gooch Patterson takes the can, hits it in the opening. He's already passed a bag of ice to Tony Stewart. That's the only adjustment that they're going to make for Tony. No adjustments to the race car. Down and away. Rusty's down and away. Tight battle off pit road.
Greg Biffle gets the nod.
And remember, Greg has that pit box right here over as you come through the apron in turn 4. Gets to his pit box, gets his work done, and he wins the battle off pit road.
He beats Rusty, Brendan Gaughan, Ryan Newman, Kurt Busch, Tony Stewart, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jeff Gordon, Michael Waltrip, Jimmy Johnson, Ricky Craven.
77 group, they got the job done too. Brendan Gaughan's crew.
Yeah, they're there.
Looked like the real loser was Tony Stewart in the 20 car.
100 laps, 1/5 distance. You're watching NASCAR on Fox, presented by Quaker State. Just waved the green flag with Greg Biffle the leader. Kevin LePage was well out in front of Biffle on the inside line.
I think he'll probably get a message right here.
The black flag is being waved as we speak. You cannot jump the leader like that. Kevin just trying to do all he can.
Oh man, and the Biffle almost clipped him. He was coming off the pit road.
Casey Mears back in the race after replacing a radiator 30 laps down. Fromdale Jr. battling Kurt Busch and Tony Stewart.
I think Kevin LePage's troubles will continue because there's a commit line over in turn 2, and he missed it as well coming to pit road for his black flag infraction.
So that will be a pass-through in addition to the black flag penalty for jumping the restart.
Here at Bristol, that will cost you probably at least an additional 2 laps under green.
The free pass car was Jeff Green, so he is now back on the lead lap. Dick Berggren?
Well, Jeff Burton came to Bristol without a sponsor on the side of the car. He was looking to have a good day. Instead, he's looking at what is left of his race car. What happened out there?
Well, we got underneath Kevin and came off too, and I came up and he came down. It was both of our faults, and we ended up with the worst for the wear. But proud of my guys. We were running well. We just I should have given Kevin a little more room, and he could have given me a little more room.
We'll see you in Texas. Good luck there.
That's a savvy veteran, Darrell. Wasn't anybody's fault. It's just Bristol.
Well, if you can have that attitude here at Bristol, you'll leave here a lot happier. I can tell you that, because nobody wrecks anybody on purpose here. You know how fast you're going. You know what the closing rate is. All it takes is a little slip on either guy's part, and around you go.
I know who's happy right now, at least on lap 117. We're riding with Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the Budweiser car, the number 8 car. Started back in 18th. He went to victory lane yesterday in the Busch Series race, but as a car owner, as his driver Martin Truex. I know there was some concern, though, because yesterday in practice, Matt Yoakum, the 8 car was having some tire issues and the weather's hotter today.
Tony Eury Jr. told me that was a concern, especially with the slight rain that we had here at the Speedway last night. But he felt like they were going to adjust for that with the setup on the first stop, Larry Mack. The car we mentioned was way too tight. The air and wedge adjustment, Tony Jr. just told me that Jr. said helped the car. 14-second stop didn't help them as much as they would have liked, but the car is getting better and better. Steve.
Well, Matt, remember, Jeff Gordon said his car was wicked loose in the early going when the last. But it had gotten tight in the center, and that's what concerned him most. They made a wedge adjustment, they added some air pressure to the left rear tire, and they took some tape off of the front grille.
Thanks, Steve. 3 caught. We're at lap 121. 4th leader of the day is Greg Biffle, who led the first 111 laps of yesterday's Sharpie 250.
You know, a team that has really struggled this year came here, qualified 25th, which was a concern. Ricky Craven in that 32 car right there. He has made his way in the top 10, and right now, I think he has a better race car than Jimmy Johnson in front of him in the 48, if he can just get to him. This team needs a good run, though, just to get their confidence back.
Right behind Craven, Sterling Marlin. Tennessee boy, always a threat here. Jeannie?
Well, Sterling Marlin coming through the pit in lap 105 as crew chief asked him, hey, how are the scuffs treating you? AKA those slightly used tires. We are surrounded by them in the 40 pit. 10 pairs in this pit. I kind of walked up and down turn 2 here. And Sterling Marlin and his crew chief, one of the only teams to decide to go for it, at least again in turn 2. Just 1 pair of stickers.
Sterling has had a smile all week long walking through the garage here. Become a grandfather this week. His son Stedman and his wife Mandy gave birth to Sterling Blaze last Sunday afternoon. Sterling said, I almost made it back after Darlington to see my grandbaby born.
He's working over Ricky Craven right now. This is for 10th place. Junior works past Joe Nemechek, who's now 1 lap down. And back up front, Rusty Wallace begins to close it back up on Greg Biffle. That's less than half a second separating them.
And in about 4 or 5 laps, they'll be catching the tail end of the field, and that's when Rusty Wallace will probably really be able to close up on Greg Biffle. You get that lead, Darrell, that lap traffic takes it right back away.
Yeah, it does. Biffle's car, though, is doing what it did yesterday. It's fast. It's really fast on the short run here, but he's coming off the corner with a lot of steam.
And Darrell, I was shocked this morning as I walked through the garage area, the low gears these cars were pulling. We used to come here and we'd pull a 525, a 529. These guys are racing 550s, and there's a few 567s. Remember, the higher number is a much lower gear.
See, that's one of the things that we did way back when. I pulled a 543 gear here for years and years and years, and I called it my passing gear, like what I used at Darlington. A little lower than everybody else. Gave you such a huge advantage.
You beat people at Bristol from the center off the corner. If you can get that nose under them and lunge off the corner, that's where you beat them.
You back off early, but you want to get back on the throttle wide open hard up off these turns, and you're going to have a great race car.
You saw Matt Kenseth move up to 17th as Jeffrey Bodine returns back to the garage area in the number 98. Matt?
Confidence continues to build for the Penske guys running 2nd, 3rd, and 5th. Rusty Wallace, 2nd straight stop, no adjustments. Brendan Gaughan, no adjustments. Ryan Newman, air pressure. But the teamwork, you can see it down here between the 2 and the 12 pits, hitting side by side. The 12 wants the 2. The pit a couple feet short pit in his box, so Ryan can get a better angle and not take a chance of clipping any of the 2 pit crew members. Jeff?
Matt, as you were saying about the teamwork with the Penske group right now, talked to Brendan Gaughan this morning. He was bragging so much about his teammates, Ryan Newman, for example, but more so about the veteran Rusty Wallace. He could not get over how Rusty had worked with him, along as you talked about earlier about with Buddy Baker, who's a veteran racer also, about how they have coached him about this racetrack and kept telling him if he would just set his car up just like these guys do and adapt his driving style to the guy who knows how to win here, he could be successful. And right now, it looks like guys are getting it done, and he seems to be like he's a pretty good place as far as watching these veterans get it done.
You know, Jeff, back to what Matt was talking about pit road, the luxury they have with the 12 car, remember he has that very last pit box leaving pit road. He can pit deep in his box, but they have to make sure it's not too deep that he's across that line. Then that'll really cost them if they have to back him up.
137 laps complete in the Food City 500. Greg Biffle's Ford in front of Rusty Wallace and Brendan Gaughan in Dodges. Dale Jr.'s Chevrolet and Ryan Newman's Dodge.
Nice to have you with us on Fox here in Bristol. NASCAR Nextel Cup Racing on Fox presented by Quaker State, and today's aerial coverage provided by Quaker State. Greg Biffle, your current leader. Let's do a quick recap for those of you that were not with us at the start of the race. Ryan Newman, the pole sitter, led the first 25 laps on the 25th lap. That's Rusty Wallace in the 2-car, Dodge passing Dodge. Penske teammates. Lap 58, first caution. The rookie Casey Kane in the 9-car. Bumped by Jamie McMurray. Later said he was stupid. What was he doing here? And said he'd get him back. And then lap 82, Tony Stewart taking the lead from Rusty Wallace. A little bump and run. And on lap 102, Labonte, Harvick, Burton involved. And Bobby Labonte ramming in to Burton, and then the race off pit road.
Race off pit road won by Greg Biffle right now, who was the leader. And here comes Rusty Wallace around. He gets inside the leader then, Greg Biffle, and takes the lead. Rusty's got that car hunting that yellow line, looking pretty strong.
Reporter from Cincinnati.
Yes, he is. His car was going to battle his way back. It led early, but presently he's running 6th.
And a thought on Kurt Busch, who of course has won 3 of 4 here, currently running 8th. I talked with Jimmy Fennick this morning. He said he didn't have a real reason why he was so dominant, but in the truck series, he said Busch learned to be patient and learned to work his tires, and that's been one of the secrets of his success here.
And that's what he's doing right now. He's just sitting back here, just content to ride. He realizes this is a long race. We got a long ways to go, over 340 laps yet.
Kurt Busch trying to hold off Jimmy Johnson at 8th and 9th spot. Let's go back upstairs.
Leaders in heavy traffic. Rusty Wallace trying to get by Johnny Sauter and the double wide group of Mayfield and the 01 in front of him. While Jimmy Johnson gets past Kurt Busch. Johnson will move up to 8th. 4 laps ago, Tony Stewart went past Jeff Gordon for 6th. Dale Jarrett just outside the top 10 along with Michael Waltrip. Big picture racing.
Yeah, I mean, qualified back in 30th, and in that first run that was about 50 or 60 laps, he almost went a lap down, but there's no question when you look at our biggest movers that Dale Jarrett and that group, Mike Ford, they made the right adjustments on that race car. Of course, you see Robbie Gordon had a decent qualifying run on Friday, but he had to start at the rear of the field because of an engine change this weekend.
Robbie Gordon at work.
And that's definitely at work in there, I guarantee at this place.
23rd place. Battle brewing for 3rd. Earnhardt Jr. closing in on the Punisher. That's what's on the back of Brian Gaughan's car, new movie. And this is 3rd and 4th place.
Well, they just went by Joe Nemechek in the 01 car. He's a couple laps down. But this is what happens when we get these long lap down. They want to stay on the lead lap.
Yeah, they've been the 2 car and the 16 have been working some of this lap traffic. It's allowed Dale Jr. and Brendan to close up a little bit on them, but once they clear the traffic, they seem to be able to pull back out again.
Dick Berggren.
And as the leaders approach all of this traffic, Greg Biffle's spotter Joel Edwards has been a voice of calm. When Rusty tried to pass Biffle, his spotter Edwards simply said, let him go. Then he told Biffle, you're better up off the corner than he is. A little while later, take care of your equipment and constantly be careful. To Steve Burns.
Dick, Jimmy Johnson's been pretty steady today. He's wanted his crew to help his car turn better. On the last pit stop, they made an air pressure adjustment, added some bite into the left rear, and they also took some tape off the grill.
Darrell, one reason as a crew chief, I didn't do a lot of talking to my driver during the race under green flag conditions. One, he couldn't hear. Up at Talladega, as we see Dale Earnhardt Jr. go underneath Brendan Gaughan, the 77, that's a battle for 3rd. But that spotter never gets to rest here. I mean, he has probably one of the most important jobs other than the driver.
What I always did here, I would tell my spotter or my crew chief both, if I hear you, I'll click the button once. If that's a yes. If I hear you and I don't like what you say, I'll click it twice because I don't have time to talk to you.
That's why every time I'd scan you out here, click, 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 click,
That's
click,
it.
click.
And if I was really upset, that's what you'd hear. Click, 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 click.
167 laps, 1/3 distance here at Bristol. 3 cautions in the first 100 laps since then. Oh, we were caution free until Ricky Rudd just hit the wall coming out of turn 2.
Caution is out. Caution is out.
And Casey Mears ran slam into Rudd, could not avoid him. Wham.
And Casey had been in the garage working on his car and just gotten back out there.
Yeah, it was all fixed with a new radiator. He was 30 laps down, but running competitive speed.
I heard him say it sounded like that Ricky may have had a tire problem. Sounded like he may have had a right front go down.
Casey Mears' Dodge is a mess. There's Ricky Rudd. He's okay. Will climb out of the Wood Brothers car at 1/3 distance.
Had a decent qualifying run on Friday, qualified 15th there. You see the thumbs up from the safety worker. Ricky's okay, which we had the shot of him. He was really beginning to go backwards, being lapped by our leader, Rusty Wallace.
Well, one of the things you know that you do is that you drop that air pressure in that right front tire, and you can have a problem. There it is. It's huge.
Casey Mears was just a victim.
Caution is out. You're watching that.
Back at Bristol Motor Speedway, under caution, pit stops underway. Jeff Gordon said his car has gone from wicked loose to decent. They made some air pressure adjustments. Dick.
Greg Biffle is in. His front tire carrier, Jeff Silver, will tear one piece of tape off the nose of the car. Biffle said the car is pretty dang good, and that's the word he used. To Matty.
No changes for Rusty Wallace. He stopped short in his pit. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has a 77 to go a little long in his box. Junior should have a good angle out with a 77. It's going to be blocked in by his teammate. He's going to lose some spots as Junior was a little slow as well.
Nextel Cup Racing on Fox, presented by Quaker State, is brought to you by Ford, the official truck of NASCAR. By Subway. Subway, eat fresh. By Coca-Cola. Let's make it real. And by Aaron's Sales and Lease Ownership. Let Aaron's drive your dreams home today. There you see the danger of 3 teammates pitting nose to tail right at that section from our Quaker State aerial coverage. Right down at the mouth of turn number 1. Newman, Wallace, and Gaughan. Gaughan was done first. Couldn't get out. You can't go get mad at those teammates.
But I tell you who is really losing ground on pit stops, I don't know if it's because of adjustments or what, is Tony Stewart in the 20 car. He came in 6th, and he's going to be kicked all the way back to 16th. You can't have pit stops like that here on a continuing basis.
Well, I heard him say they were giving him some ice. So I don't know if there's something going on with him or if there's something going on with adjustments on the car.
We're working the 4th caution of the day. Let's go to Chris Myers for a Visa race break.
From the Hollywood Hotel, this is a Visa Race Break with Jeff Hammond. You know, this is the first year now that we have the points adjustment. The Nextel Championship top 10 are within 400 points of the leader. So this is race 6 of 36, but really it's a 26 race season to get into the 10, Jeff. So we thought we'd break it down for people, and this will change from week to week. 4 categories. For example, looking great, your top 10, right? These are the guys that are pretty much in and would stay that way.
Right, stay that way. Your guys are looking great right now, definitely in the top 10. That's where you want to be. That's where you want to stay all the way up to that 26th race.
And then the next group looking good. I mean, obviously these guys have a chance to get into the top 10, but they would be in good position if the season were to end today.
In the top 10 and definitely within the 400-point rule that NASCAR put out earlier this season.
And the next group looking in. These are guys that, you know, have to keep stepping forward. If they slide back, they can fall in danger.
They've got to keep things working forward if they want to get to that desirable level. Again, right now they're still within the 400-point reason, but they've got to get a little closer to that top 10.
And looking out, these are the guys right now. Michael Waltrip would not be. He's not within 400 points.
Michael's in trouble along guys like Ken Strader. He's right there on that borderline along with Scott Riggs. Got to go, guys.
All right, so guys could be falling. We'll keep an eye on this. This has been a Visa Race Break. We'll be back in Bristol in just a moment. We're getting ready to go things with Greg Biffle on the lead.
177 complete. We're set for the restart. Greg Biffle leading Rusty Wallace, Brendan Gaughan, Ryan Newman, his teammates Kurt Busch and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Kyle Petty on the inside has been as quick as the leaders the last 100 laps. Not able to get back on the lead lap on this restart.
Tony Stewart, the real loser, as you saw in the graphic, though. Kurt Busch and that group picked up 4 positions on pit road. That could be 20 laps out on the racetrack.
Darrell, the more lap cars there are on that inside lane on restarts, and then they were told, the lap cars, to try to move up high and out of the way. Hard to do both.
Yeah, no, there's no way. And what happens is, as you go down the first turn, they've got the preferred line. They move you up out of the groove, and the guys in front of you drive off and leave you.
Ricky Rudd released from the care center. He is okay. Jeff Hammond is with what's left of Casey Kane's car that brought out the first caution.
Guys, this is not my Ford cutaway car. This is what's left of Casey Kane's car. He's one of the early victims here at Bristol. As you can see, they couldn't effect repairs. So Casey Kane's day is shorted, just like the back end of this race car.
A great rookie season until today for Casey Kane.
And as we talked about earlier, when that wreck happened, he came in here 5th in the points. So he'll take a hit today on that.
5th place, Dale Earnhardt Jr. passes Kurt Busch, goes right after Ryan Newman.
Inside.
You ever notice how Kurt Busch is just inching closer and closer to the front? Quietly today, too. So far.
Well, what did he tell you, Darrell? He doesn't plan to come here and win. His game plan's a little different.
Well, a lot like what I used to do. I used to just ride around, try to stay out of trouble for about 300 laps. And then, I had a better car than everybody else. I hadn't had it all beaten up. The fenders were still all where they're supposed to be.
Right after that sequence of pit stops a while ago, I was talking about Tony Stewart, and already because he's back in traffic, he's almost a half a lap down to Greg Biffle. Matt Yoakum, what's happening on their pit stops?
Larry Mack, on the first stop, there was a bad mount going from the old tire to the new tire on the right front. On the last stop, there were issues on the right rear and left front. Paul Aleppo, one of the pit crew coaches at JGR, looked at the video. Now the biggest thing, Tony's got to try to make up those spots at the racetrack, but Paul has to get the guys back mentally in the right frame of mind. They've got to put this bad 2 stops out of their mind and get ready for the next stop. You can't let these 2 stops keep them down. And DW, concerning the ice, it's a little preventive maintenance for Tony Stewart. He's fine.
And Darrell, you got to stay in the right frame of mind as a driver. You're saying, guys, I'm working my tail off getting to the front, and you're putting me to the back each time.
Yeah, and Tony, being high-strung the way he is, he's not going to put up with a whole lot of that without taking that frustration out somewhere.
And oh, by the way, guess who's going to lead the most laps today? This man right here.
Has that look about it.
Got a very consistent race car. He gets beaten out of the pit there by the 16 car Biffle, but once they get going, Rusty just takes off.
This is the 3rd time today that Rusty Wallace has led. He's been out front for a total of 81 laps, 58 for Ryan Newman and Tony Stewart.
Rusty's one of the few race cars that I watch consistently lap after lap that never gets sideways up off the corner. He really accelerates nice and straight. That means he's not abusing his tires or his car.
But Darrell, what they'll have to do, Larry Carter, that crew chief, and Rusty, is they'll probably have to continue to make slight adjustments, especially late in the race as more rubber gets built up. They just got to be careful and not get too aggressive and jump the fence with their adjustments.
That's where a good veteran driver like Rusty, if he'll just give you a little bit of feedback, not a lot, just a little bit, I think they can stay on top of it.
Kurt Busch, trying to four-peat here at Bristol, is in 6th place.
Listen, once you figure this place out, Mike, you set up wise, what kind of attitude you got to have to run good here all day long for 500 laps, you can come here and dominate.
Busch is closing fast on Ryan Newman.
He is, Mike, but they have struggled with that race car all day long, and they're just really not quite sure what's wrong with it. At one point, he came on the radio and said, it feels like something wrong. The car just isn't right. Most recently, he said he thinks the air pressure is too low on all 4 tires when they put 4 new tires on. He said it feels like the car is scraping the bottom of the racetrack. Meanwhile, Greg Biffle said this set of tires isn't as good as the ones he's had earlier. To Steve.
Well, Dick, Jimmy Johnson's been consistent for nearly 200 laps, riding in the 7th position. He won last weekend's race at Darlington. He said this weekend, one of his proudest moments of that race was a comment that Darrell Waltrip made, calling him a gentleman driver. Although Jimmy's just 28 years old, he
fun to see this sport unfold through a young driver's eyes. It's Tony Stewart underneath the lap car of Nemechek.
And you can always find bad examples, and it's good to find a good example every now and then. And I think Jimmy exemplifies what a champion would be, what it should be like.
Scott Wimmer in the Bill Davis 22. The Cat car trying to take the spot from Ricky Craven. This race is for 14th. These are lead lap cars back through 25th position.
And you know, back on the 97 for a second at Kurt Busch, that's not good feedback when you tell the crew chief there's something wrong.
Oh, yikes. That's not good.
That's not, that's.
Oh, they're spinning behind him. Again, the chain reaction. Caution is out as Robbie Gordon in 31 spins around.
Tony Stewart's got a whole bunch of damage to the right front.
That was one of those, I don't want to say Caterpillar. Well, it's Caterpillar kind of crashes, you know, the 22.
Here he goes. We might find out who the culprit was here. Tony not happy. I knew it was just a matter of time before Tony loses his cool. These pit stops are getting to him, and
he's losing it right now. And this is where your spotter comes in and say, look, you got a good race car, 200 laps, calm down.
You had a good race car. You may have just wounded it pretty good.
That was one of those thigh bone connected to the knee bone connected to the not funny bone crashes. Let's show you.
Yeah, with a 32 car, you know, it looks like he had to get out of the throttle, and I can't really see enough yet. Wimmer actually just got in the back of the 32, which shot him into Tony, looked like.
And then Robbie Gordon checks up and Ken Schrader turns him. But here's how it started.
See, the 32 gets loose. You got to get out of the gas. Here comes Tony. I don't know why he'd be mad at the 22 car. I think he's just mad. I don't think he's mad at anybody. I think he's just mad.
Well, Tony Stewart and Scott Wimmer, we're told, are going to be black flagged.
Now, that's been a long, long time since we've had anybody in the penalty box.
Of course, both these are lead lap cars.
And they wasn't hurt very badly until all this started.
Now here's what happens to Robbie Gordon. He checks up. Ken Schrader's right behind him.
Yep, got a bump. Get the back wheels lifted up off the ground, and around she goes.
And his teammate Kevin Harvick in the 29 car just squeaks by.
Jeannie.
Little 40 car of Sterling Marlin just taking 2 right side tires. He's been fighting real loose. He hopes this will help. Steve?
Jeannie, small adjustment for Jimmy Johnson. As Larry Mack said, you can't jump the fence. A little wedge adjustment, 4 tires, and he's off pit road. Dick.
Greg Biffle into his pit right now, going to take 4 tires. Same air pressure in all of them, even though he didn't like the air pressures the last time around. He pits well back in the box so he can clear the number 38 of Elliott Sadler, who parks in front of him. To Matt.
Brendan Gault's Jackman just creased the right front fender. Rusty Wallace in. Looks like another solid stop by these guys. Remember, they changed tire changers again. Shuffled them on the 2. He's down and away. He's going to beat him off pit road again.
Good stop for Sterling Marlin. Good stop for Rusty Wallace.
Rusty's got to be loving this. They got a good race car. They're making great stops right now. Looking good for Rusty.
But look down on pit road on the front stretch. The NASCAR official, look at the official in front of Tony Stewart's car. He has his right hand on his head, signaling that there is an infraction by the driver. He has one finger in the air with his left hand, indicating a 1-lap penalty. And the same is going on in the 22 pit for Scott Wimmer.
I feel kind of sorry for Wimmer. I mean, I think he was a victim of circumstances. I think he probably retaliated a little bit. Maybe he shouldn't have, but.
And let's show you what happened after the caution flag came out.
It's one of those situations where you say, man, what are you doing that to me for? I didn't do anything.
Well, Wimmer turns in front of Tony. Tony turns down into Wimmer. And I guess that's how you discuss things under caution, Darrell?
Yeah, it's just, you know, you hit me once, I'll hit you twice.
And now they'll be back in 24th and 25th position, 1 lap down.
Oh, that's a big hit right there. Look at those cars. They were not hurt at all. Minor damage on both of them, and now they look like they've been a meat grinder.
Well, the 1-lap penalty will drop Tony Stewart presently to 4th in the Nextel Cup standings as you look at your Chevy point leaders, Dale Jr., Tony, and Jimmy Johnson. So anger management is in operation here at Bristol.
We talked about attitude, but not bad attitude.
NASCAR Next Hill Cup Racing on Fox, presented by Quaker State, is brought to you by Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. Dodge. By Radio Shack. You've got questions, we've got answers. And by Napa Auto Parts. Napa, get the good stuff. Tony Stewart, Scott Wimmer, a lap down on penalties. Stewart, as we're on 1 to go. You see from our Quaker State aerial coverage, Kyle Petty got the free pass, attaboy. And Tony Stewart comes in to check the alignment down the left side. Sterling Marlin will be our race leader. Rusty Wallace, Greg Biffle, Ryan Newman, Brendan Gaughan coming around to complete lap 209, completing the 5th caution of the day. Green flag.
And how Sterling Marlin and the 40 car soon in the lead. They've been flirting back there about 10th to 12th. I knew somebody was going to roll the dice and try it. About 20 laps on those tires. That Lee McCall group decided to try 2 right side tires, get that track position. His best friend right now is Scott Riggs in the 10 car, holding Rusty Wallace up because that'll let those new right side air pressure equal out to the left sides. He needs a few laps for it to come to him.
I think it's a pretty good move right now. See what it's going to do. Might pay off later. Got some good track position. Have at it, leading the race on TV. Don't get any better than this.
Ryan Newman up the hill. Brendan Gaughan moves underneath him and takes over 4th.
Yeah, I think with only 20-something laps, I know there were some teams, I don't know that Sterling Marlin's group did it yesterday. Some teams tried that in practice just to see how it would react. The whole culprit here is the right front tire. The left side tires are not having to do that much work. It's that right front tire that gets all the work.
In the garage, Ricky Rudd, Casey Mears with crash damage. Same for Jeff Burke, Jeffrey Bodine, Casey Kane, Kirk Shelmerdine, Joe Ruttman, Andy Hillenberg out of the race. Now that's Frank Stoddard talking it over with Greg Zipadelli, the crew chiefs on the 2 cars, explaining what happened in the incident. Let's show it to you one more time as we continue under green here. This is what brought out the caution.
You see the 32 car, Ricky Craven. He's got to check up. Wimmer has nothing to do with back off. Here comes Tony, closing fast. I can't see where the 22 car did anything wrong. Tony doesn't agree. They have a little talk here. Hit me again. I'll hit you again.
Why'd you back into me? Why'd you run into me?
Yeah, right.
Earlier, Tony Stewart was asked about drivers who take it all in stride versus drivers who get angry when things happen. What do the fans want,
They get
Tony?
tired of just the plain vanilla guy out there that just, every time something happens, he just thanks he's sponsors, thanks he's car owner and the crew, and smiles and has a happy day. That's not the way our sport is. I mean, when you have a bad day, it's a bad day. So don't BS everybody and say, hey, I'm happy about it. It's okay. I'll be back next week. But they know we're coming back next week. They want somebody that shows their true emotion and is not afraid to show it. I think that's what our race fans respect.
And right now, guys, he's back there in 28th position. 1 lap down, and Darrell, that car, I don't think it's very good right now.
No, I don't think so either. It looked like they were trying to adjust the toe. He hit that right front pretty hard. But you know what? It's good to be fiery. It's good to have that attitude and to be cocky like that. It's got to be smart too. You don't want to take a car that could win the race and get yourself penalized like that.
Stewart was probably more unhappy being back there in the midst of that.
Well, that's
what Scott Wimmer did.
Yeah, that's what started the whole thing. I knew 2 pit stops like that, he's going to get mad at somebody.
Now, Rusty Wallace in the 2 car in 2nd place. He finally clears the lap car of Scott Riggs in the 10.
Now he can set sail after Sterling Marlin, who is the 6th different driver to lead this race today.
Scott Riggs in that 10 car right now, he would be the car that would get the pardon should the caution come out. His crew had a lot of work to do late yesterday in happy hour. In fact, him and Tony Stewart, the 20 car, got together in practice. Scott hits a wall. They decided to fix that race car.
They've done a great job of getting that car going, Larry, because he was really not good at all. He got lapped early. So to be able to hang in there now the way he is impressive.
Comeback of the day award so far, Jamie McMurray. Since his lap 58 crash with Casey Kane, he has come back onto the lead lap and now into the top 10.
And what really cost him, remember on that first pit stop, he pitted out of his box and they had to back him up. That's what really cost him a lot of time.
I think when you come here, you just value some no-fault insurance. We can stand up here all day and you can put blame on everybody, but this joint just does it to you.
You got to go buy some my fault insurance too, Darrell.
I'm telling you, you got to every time you have something happen, you got to remember it's Bristol.
Earnhardt Jr. under Newman, and here comes Kurt Busch in turn 3.
Yeah, Newman he's just been blessed by some good time caution flags to keep him where he is.
Junior to 5th, Kurt Busch to 6th.
Yeah, Junior opened the door for Kurt Busch to go underneath Ryan Newman as well. I think Ryan Newman's good as long as those tires are real fresh.
Yeah.
Next car back behind Newman is Dale Jarrett. A couple of lap cars separate them. Then Jamie McMurray and Jimmy Johnson. Jeannie?
Well, Jarrett says the thing that makes Bristol so tough is that there's usually a preferred line, and you have everybody trying to get to it. A lot of guys getting in front of you that are slower.
No, and as good as Rusty's car has been, I think even if Sterling had 4 brand new tires, I think Rusty would still be right there hounding him the way he is. So I don't believe it's really a tire issue right now. It might get to be one.
Rusty looks a little better into the corner. Sterling might be just a little better off at the moment. We're at 231 laps. We're closing in on halfway in the Food City 500 at Bristol Motor Speedway in Thunder Valley. Mach 3 Turbo Champion invites you to enter the Young Guns Challenge. Each week, a lucky fan will win $5,000. Go to GilletteYoungGuns.com for details. Sterling Marlin up on Rusty Wallace. Young Guns, old gunslingers. Now here's two fellas, Darrell, that have raced each other for 20 years, kind of know each other's tricks and traits, and yet they're not running all over top of each other.
No, and it's kind of like Rusty sitting there like old Clint Eastwood. Have I fired 5 times or have I fired 6?
Matt, do you feel lucky?
I sure do. I don't know if Sterling Marlin will soon. Frustration starting to build for Rusty Wallace. The first car with 4 fresh tires, but he is starting to get frustrated because Sterling, he says, is holding him up. It's making Rusty's car get tighter and tighter. In fact, he said to his spotter, I don't want to move him over. Don't being the operative word, but he will if he has to.
Well, Nipple's closing in to make it a 3-car battle, though.
First of all, Matty's got to get to him, and so far he ain't gotten close enough to him to move him over.
Sterling's last top 5 finish here, second to Alan Kulwicki in 1991.
Of course, Sterling got his very first top 5 finish in over a year at Rockingham last month.
And if you look at timing and scoring, I mean, Rusty and the 16 both are a little bit faster than Sterling, but he's in the lead.
From old gunslingers to raw rookies, Brendan Gaughan. Let me tell you, he's having so much fun out there. Well, just listen to this.
Does that give me a bonus, Mr. Penske, sir?
Not yet.
Complimenting one of the owners, I think, should warrant something.
Still got a long ways to go. We got to keep focused, not make any mistakes here.
Doesn't worry, work. Having fun this year now. We're doing all right. I got my focus on for you, Shannon. Just going to keep trying to click off laps like this.
I have to be the pessimist out of the group.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Mr. Penske said, yeah, you get a bonus.
That last voice is Buddy Baker. What is this, a lounge act?
I'm telling you. And here I was telling you, you don't have time to talk around here, and they're just having a normal conversation.
That would be Mr. Penske right there, Roger Penske. But yeah, I mean, Brendan has had some good qualifying runs. He had a good qualifying run at Las Vegas. But no matter what happens, as we just crossed the halfway mark of this race, in the second half, those guys need to be happy and proud of this weekend.
Behind him, though, Kurt Busch and Ryan Newman are closing in.
Well, Kurt Busch is. I'm not so sure about Newman. He's got his hands full. He's not got the best race car out there right now. That 42 car looks mighty racy, though. He's been coming there, clicking through, got by Dale Jarrett.
Hey, guys, next week we go to Texas. How about that?
That'll be a lot of fun. Fandango for the season ticket holders Thursday night, and then IROC as well as the Busch and the Cup cars. It'll be a big weekend in Texas. Everything's big in Texas.
You got to grab racing by the horns when you go down there.
Matt?
It's advice by committee in the 77 pit. You heard on the radio just about everybody chiming in to rookie Brendan Gaughan. The last voice you heard, Buddy Baker. Another comment that Buddy told Brendan when the 8 of Dale Jr. passed him, said jump in behind the 8, follow him. He'll move some people out of the way. The problem, Brendan feels like he hurt the right front tire trying to get around lap cars earlier in this run. His car has now gone to the tight side. Steve?
Hey, Matt, remember that Jamie McMurray dropped all the way to the 28th position after a lap 58 spin in problems on pit road. Back running in the 8th position now. They made no adjustments on their last pit stop. He's running very smooth lap times. His team, the spotter, just said, hey, get into that corner nice and easy, and she'll just charge up the corner for you.
You know, another car that's having a good run, had a good qualifying effort, Elliott Sadler in the 38 car, the winner of this race 3 years ago. He just went by Jeff Gordon to move into the 11th spot steady. You know, he's not going up there driving in the top 5, but he's just hanging right there, anywhere from about 8th to 14th right now.
Behind Sadler, Gordon, as you mentioned, then Michael Waltrip, Kenny Schrader, Jeremy Mayfield, and our point leader, Matt Kenseth, back in 16th.
Young man on the move. I'm telling you, got to keep an eye on him, keep a camera on him. Is that 97 car? He just went around Brendan. Got a good-looking hot rod right now. Hey, you know, you get down that low and you get back in the throttle, you're going to be sure to clear these cats. He's driving on.
I tell you, Sterling Marlin in that 40 car, our leader, he has pulled away from Rusty Wallace, but the problem is they are within about a lap or two of catching the tail end of the field. That's where we'll see how those two older left side tires with the new right side tires, how they prevail against Rusty's 4 fresh tires.
The tail of that field is Bobby Labonte, who has crash damage earlier, and Brian Vickers back on track after losing a drive shaft. We're just past halfway. You're watching NASCAR on Fox, presented by Quaker State. Nextel Cup Racing on Fox, presented by Quaker State, is brought to you by the Home Depot, NASCAR's home improvement warehouse. By the new Chevrolet, an American revolution. By Wellbutrin XL. Ask your doctor if Wellbutrin XL is right for you. And by Wendy's new spinach chicken salad. It's better here.
46-year-old Sterling Marlin, your leader, under our longest green run of the day so far on lap 273. And next week's NASCAR race menu brought to you by Wendy's Classic Hamburgers. It's better here. Saturday, live from the Great American Speedway, it's NASCAR Busch Series Racing with the O'Reilly 300, presented by Old Spice at 2 Eastern, 11 Pacific on Fox. And then next Sunday, they'll miss the world's best drivers, the Samsung Radio Shack 500. All right, some egos and fenders bruised early. Let's go over some of the wrecks here in Bristol. Lap 58, rookie Casey Kane knocked out of the race by Jamie McMurray. Kane said later, I'll get him back sometime. And then Bobby Labonte, the Wellbutrin car, he is depressed, involved in a wreck with Harvick and Burton. Ricky Rudd, Casey Mears wrecked. They're out of the race. And then Tony Stewart and Scott Wimmer behind Ricky Craven get into it. And Tony Stewart is assessed, black flag, the 1-lap penalty, and then later pointing out to Wimmer the advantages of using Old Spice. But there is your leader, followed by Rusty Wallace. Now Sterling Marlin, and look at Rusty Wallace, who won his first career race here, taking the lead with Dale Earnhardt Jr. right behind him.
You're going to say he opened the door right there, and Dale Earnhardt, he took advantage of it right there. But Rusty's been frustrated for a long time based off the fact that Sterling Marlin only took on 2 tires the last time the caution came out. So he was riding around with some pretty well-worn left side tires, and he finally got decided it's time to go.
Rusty Wallace, first win came here 18 years ago when Rusty won his last race in 2001. Ryan Newman, his teammate, wasn't racing full-time in Nextel Cup, and Brendan Gaughan, another teammate, wasn't even racing trucks full-time. And Dale Earnhardt Jr. trying to stay with Rusty Wallace, who has been the leader for a number of times.
One other guy right there, Chris, has been doing extremely well here today, is a veteran. Kenny Schrader back there in that number 49 car right now, racing side by side with Michael Waltrip for position, as well as right in behind Ryan Newman for 12th place. Kenny Schrader's having a pretty strong run today in that Swan car.
We've had now 7 leaders, 9 lead changes, up to 6 cars out of the race, and this long green run stretch.
Every now and then this race will take on a long green run. This could be the start of one right now, Chris. This could be very interesting as we go along. See these two guys get together right there going down the corner. And Kenny Schrader hangs his left front tire down off the apron and gets sideways. Here we go. Everybody's beating and banging each other. That's what happens here at Bristol.
Michael Waltrip in front of Jeremy Mayfield, and all this happening in front of Matt Kenseth, who's running 16th in the 17 car. He's the points leader.
And look who's out front right now. Dale Earnhardt got around Rusty Wallace. I guess he got tired of following Rusty also.
So Dale Earnhardt, and the Dale Earnhardt Jr. fans upstanding wearing red. Let's take a look at how it happened.
Sitting there watching Kenny Schrader right there. The 12 car gets up, gets a little loose. Michael gets into the Schrader. All this is going on right here, going out in turn 1 and 2.
And then,
again, man, I tell you right now, Jeremy Mayfield, 32 car.
Ricky Craven, who
all this right in front of Matt Kenseth. But meanwhile, Dale Earnhardt Jr. gets down underneath Rusty Wallace right there in the middle of 1 and 2. Puts the move on him.
And Dale Earnhardt Jr., your leader, followed by Rusty Wallace, Sterling Marlin, Greg Biffle, and Kurt Busch running 5th. Let's go back upstairs, rejoin Mike Joy, Darrell Waltrip, and Larry McReynolds.
Lots happened there in a few laps, but you know, Schrader and Michael have to sit next to each other on Speed Channel on Mondays on Inside Weston Cup. There is a difference when you're racing one of your buddies, Darrell. Michael gave Kenny a lot of room to get his car back.
They like to have something to talk about and something to laugh about, so they got something to talk about tomorrow.
Here's Matt.
Michael, wedge adjustment on that last stop for Dale Jr. Car very good. Restarted 7th, moved its way up through very quickly through the field. He says the car is really coming to him almost perfect.
You know, we've been under these long greens longer than I can remember in quite some time here, and this is one of the most physically demanding racetracks that we go to. Now, one of the things that's really helped these guys here, you see how the seats are made now? The driver used to be held in the seat by a little rib protector that went right under there. But now he's using his whole upper body, his shoulders, which are about 6 times stronger than your rib cage. So, and he's got the Hans device. All he's got to do is really sit there and steer that car. We just told ourselves in the car by the steering wheel right here. All these things would wear you out on this racetrack for 500 laps. And so fatigue can set in with some of these cats. This is the first long, hot race we've had in quite a while.
You know, our pole sitter, Ryan Newman, in the 12 car, he is almost in the way right now. You know, you heard Chris Myers and Jeff talk about our long green run here. This is the longest we've had, and his car just seems to get worse and worse as we go. In fact, he's back in the 19th position. He's only about 4 seconds from being lapped by our leader, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in 8 car.
Mark Martin, Johnny Sauter, a little impatience there. Running right behind Ryan Newman.
That's been brewing. They've been bumping around on each other just a little bit for the last several laps.
Now they're only about half a straightaway from being a lap down, though there are several lap cars separating them from the leader.
And that's what puts the pressure on these guys. They got to run over each other. They got to go on or they're going to get lapped. And so you got people hollering at your crew chief spotter. Got to go, man. Got to go.
I mean, Terry Labonte in the 5 car right now, he's in the 18th position. He's on the lead lap. He got the first free pass of the day, but he's not that far from being lapped. The car right behind him, Tony Stewart in the 20, he's on the verge of going a 2nd lap down.
7 cars in the garage. One that has just returned is Jeff Burton's. This car looks like it's been at the local Saturday night dirt track, but nope. Just one of the calamities of racing in Thunder Valley.
Need to document that Bobby Labonte in the 18 car, Brian Vickers in the 25 car, they have returned to the race as well.
300 laps complete at Bristol, 200 to go. And what's about to happen you wouldn't have dreamt possible at the start of the day. Pole sitter Ryan Newman is about to get lapped by Dale Earnhardt Jr., Rusty Wallace, and Sterling Marlin.
And what would be good news about that to Rusty Wallace? I know he has mixed feelings about that, but if Ryan indeed goes a lap down, remember only lead lap cars can pit the first time, that would give Rusty that free shot out of his pit box and not have to deal with his teammate being there.
Yeah, because he's already had awesome pit stops. And Larry, this thing looks to me like we could have a green flag pit stop here before too terribly long.
Yeah, I mean, we're 100 laps into this run.
Excuse me, turn 2, Casey Mears just came back on track with what's left of his race car and almost put it up into the fence. Dale Jr. goes by him.
See, I just think that that's one of those deals where if you only rewarded points back to 25th spot, from there on back you get no points, that guy wouldn't have to bring that race car back out on the racetrack. He's 168 laps down. And look at his car. I mean, I just don't think that's a good idea.
And Darrell, I've sent cars out like that that's not quite capable of getting up to speed. I've torn them up worse after I've done that than they got tore up in the beginning. You can't get out of the way.
I feel sorry for the driver. He has got to stay here and he's got to go back out for his team. But man, put him in so much jeopardy doing that.
All right, our pole sitter has just been lapped. Ryan Newman, let's go to his pit.
The problem that Ryan Newman's been fighting all day has really gone to the severe side, tightness. Just trying to hang on to that lead lap, could not hang on any longer. Meanwhile, his rookie teammate Brendan Gaughan in the 77 fighting the same thing Ryan is. The car is tight and getting tighter and tighter with every lap. Rookie crew chief Shane Wilson already talking about what adjustments to make to that 77 car, but trying to keep him pumped up, telling him you're only half a track behind the leader. Just hang in there.
Thanks, Matt. Let me correct. Newman is right in front of Junior still. He has not gone a lap down.
And we abuse the right front so much here. I mean, we're pouring it down there, and it's digging into that 36-degree banking. It builds up air pressure. Then you're in traffic, and you're using your brakes. That builds up air pressure. First thing you know, that thing won't turn a lick.
And then we've got over 100 laps on this tank of fuel, so it's gained all that nose weight. But, Darrell, I think also right here, lap 300, this is where the track transitions a little bit. A lot of rubber down. It's cooling down just a little bit. I think this is where the guys that keep up with those adjustments, they can prevail.
This is where the engineers pay off. The guys that are engineers on the team, whether they're crew chief or team member, they have to look at what they call trends. What is the trends that have taken place here over the last several years? What adjustments need to be made?
If you look up here in our crawl right here, you see that most of these guys are about 40 to 45 laps away from making a green flag stop. You know, every week we talk about, well, short pitting. Bristol is one of those places you don't want to pit till you're out of gas, because if you make a green flag stop here, you're going to go at least 2 laps down.
Now, can Sterling Marlin run that long since he only took it on 2 tires last time?
Yeah, he'd be okay.
Yeah, he only had 20 laps on those left side tires, so he's going to do the same as everybody. He's going to run just as far as he can. And even when you see the leaders start coming to pit road, you're going to still try to wait it out, because you know when you get 140 laps here at Bristol, that caution is lurking.
All right. 185 laps to go. Here's Dick Bergman.
Ford has come up with a way to help fans get even closer to racing. It's called Team Ford Racing. Open to anybody can just join. One of the things you get is this neat magazine every single month. You also get the opportunity to get seats at hard-to-get racetracks. Like here, they're all sitting in a suite right over the start-finish line. There are pit tours as well before the start of the race, and driver visits to hospitality. Easy to get involved. Just log on to FordRacing.com. You too can become a member. If you haven't looked at Ford lately, look again.
Thanks, Dick. Greg Biffle has been able to close right up on Sterling Marlin with all of this traffic. It's the beer can battle. Bud, Miller, Coors, 1, 2, 3. Junior, Rusty, Sterling, line them up, boys.
Yep, but I tell you, there's a couple of cars that are just right back here, not too far out of our picture. 97 and the 48. They're right back here behind these 2 cars. They'll be coming into frame here in a minute. Watch it. There goes the leaders. There they go right there. They're just closing in ever so slightly.
Kurt Busch and Jimmy Johnson.
.320 complete green flag pit stops perhaps in the offing here at Bristol. You're watching on NASCAR on Fox, presented by Quaker State. .170 to go here in Bristol. Green flag pit stops coming up. Jimmy Johnson just made a stop, but it was earlier than he would have liked. He ducked onto pit road on the back straightaway. And Steve Burns has the reason why.
Yes, we do, Mike Joy. He had a flat right front tire. Goodyear tire engineer Billy Hodges has already looked at it. It's a puncture on the right front tire.
And we talked about it, Steve. When you make a green flag stop here, he was running in 6th position. He is now back in 27th position, 2 laps down. I mean, he's like Superman right now, as we see Robbie Gordon in a 31 car make a green flag stop as well. But remember, on green flag stops here, you don't have to run the entire distance of both pit roads, just the pit road you're on.
And what he has to be careful of now is how quickly he's closing on someone. If he runs up on the back of them, they don't know which way he's going to go. He can find himself in big trouble.
Now listen to Jimmy Fennig talk to his driver, Kurt Busch, who's trying to 4-peat here about tire wear.
That's 90 laps on the tires, and the last 2 laps look real good.
That poor dude, leave me out here forever. See, this far into the run, I got 3 worn tires and 1 good one. It's the right front.
I mean, we talked about it earlier, Darrell. The right front tire never gets a rest here, even on the straightaways.
And obviously his car is handling really well. He's not abusing it right now, and that's what I've been watching about him. He's been real methodically just kind of clicking along, like he said. Logging some laps right now, and this is when you log laps. Things start happening around you. People have flat tires. People start making stops. You just keep right on doing what you do.
And there you see he moves by his teammate, Greg Biffle, in the 16 car. That is a battle for 4th position, no longer a battle. I think that, and when I look back at the races that Kurt Busch won here, it's because his car was so good on long runs.
The guy he's getting ready to close up on the back of next is Sterling Marlin. Let's don't forget what happened here a year ago.
Now, Jimmy Johnson in the 48, he gets one of his laps back. Once again, that's 100 lap fresher tires. That shows you how much better it is, but look at that wad in front of him.
Yeah, let's establish that part of that wad is Ryan Newman, who has still been able to keep from going a lap down to Dale Earnhardt Jr.
But Jr. is being so cautious. He's not. He's giving everybody a break. He's not really pushing the issue at all. He's being really smart. I mean, championship kind of racing.
All right, we're going to use a little race strategy. We'll take a pit stop here so we can be back for pit stops here. Got that?
Dale Earnhardt Jr., your leader. He's never won a race after starting lower than 13th, started 18th today. And let's take a look at our Koch family of drivers. Kurt Busch, who's won 3 of the last 4 races here in Bristol, 4th. Look at Dale Jarrett, who started 30th, up to 6th in the 88 car. As we look at some of the other drivers, Bobby Labonte, Tony Stewart in the hunt as well. And there's a look at Jamie McMurray, who's moving into 4th from 5th. At one time, he was 28th. You also get a look at our leader.
Yeah, they really had a long weekend so far. They lost their primary car because of indiscretions with NASCAR, got involved in a wreck early on, and now he's moved his way all up to 4th. That's one to ring the bell for sure.
I'm so excited
right now. This is getting exciting right now.
And look at Dale Jarrett, right? Looking for his first win this year. He's had a rough start to things. DJ on the move. Definitely
so. He started way back here 30th, and he's going to put a move underneath Kurt Busch. And I think Kurt right now, all these guys have been on a long run so far. This, as a matter of fact, is the longest green flag run in over a year here in the spring race. So these guys are not used to going this distance here at Bristol.
Let's get some thoughts from Larry McReynolds and Darrell Waltrip as we look at the long green flag run and the pit stops
getting ready to start.
Yeah, here it's going to be on the line.
It'll be some strategy. I think Larry brought it out earlier about the fact you don't want to be the guy making the first pit stop as far as short pitting is concerned and get caught in the pits, but you don't want to stay out on worn tires too long, do you, Larry?
No, and Jeremy Mayfield in the 19 car, remember, he's still on the lead lap. He's making his green flag stop on the backstretch. And remember, under green, if you're on the backstretch, you can enter turn 2, leave in turn 3. On the front stretch, enter turn 4, leave turn 1.
And we saw last year some veteran drivers, Jeff Gordon and Bill Elliott both, didn't remember that. And they went all the way around the track because they didn't come in the right side on the right side of their pits.
But even with that, you're still going to go at least 2 laps down, even if everything goes good. And the good thing now, and you don't anticipate it would go green the rest of the race, but if it should, they're in the window now when they make their green flag stop. They're set to go the rest of the race, should we not have that caution.
And the 01 just made that mistake, Larry.
McMurray, the 42 car, he's making his green flag stop.
Man, when you get down to 35 miles an hour, it thinks there's something wrong with the car. It comes off the racetrack, and it looks like it just woes up to nothing.
Here comes Kurt Busch in the 97 car, Greg Biffle in the 16 car, Steve Burns.
J.D. McMurray comes to pit road, Larry back. He's a little loose in, tight in the middle off. They'll take a half pound out of that left front tire. Dave Collins and Billy Kerwood changing tires. Dick Berggren.
Kurt Busch is in as well. Indeed, Larry McReynolds, you're right. Kurt Busch has been terrific on used old tires, but the car in comparison with other cars on fresh tires is not quite as good. So we'll see what happens.
Back straightaway, Dale Jarrett is in as green flag stops continue. Dale Jr., Rusty Wallace, Sterling Marlin, and Jeff Gordon, the front 4 now, stay out. Not too many takers in these first couple of laps.
No, and this, you know, right now you're just sitting there. This is when the crew chief has to sit on the hot stove and sweat ice water.
Matt Kenseth's in, Elliott Sadler's in, Kenny Schrader is in.
But the biggest thing these guys want right here, they want to make sure this thing cycles through these pit stops and don't get burnt by a caution, Dick Berggren.
Elliott Sadler has struggled with a car that has been tight all day long. They've been working on it on every pit stop. They'll work on it again, this time with air pressure. Elliott Sadler, one gone.
Schrader's BAM Racing crew goes around to the right side as Mark Martin and Sterling Marlin gives up a top 3 spot to make his stop.
Now the cars that slowed down, they were running in the 17-second bracket. You come in and get tires on right now, you're going to be pretty fast. I wouldn't stay out there too long on old tires, Jeannie.
Yeah, those 2 tires were fun for a while, guys, but Sterling Marlin coming in saying, you know, I'll take 4 fresh ones this time, no adjustments.
He and Mark Martin, the only cars on pit road at lap 364. 136 to go. Ricky Craven comes in, and Michael Waltrip on the backstretch side. Still among the front 5, the only one who's been in has been Marlin.
And remember, he had about 20, 25 laps more on his left side tires. He was definitely, I think, ready to come to pit road.
Jeff Gordon's in, gives up a top 5 spot.
You know, one thing I've noticed, when these guys are making these pit stops, they don't realize, I don't think, that they can charge. Once they get past the end of pit road down there, they can come up to speed. And a lot of them are still coming all the way around the corner before they realize that they need to go.
Steve.
Jeff Gordon in, he's tight in the middle, loose off, put one round in, they do that in the right rear. 4 tires for Jeff Gordon here on lap 367. Left side tires going on, good stop for Jeff Gordon.
Jeff Green, Kevin Harvick, Scott Riggs, Kyle Petty, and pole sitter Ryan Newman are in, along with Brendan Gaughan, Derek Cope.
See what I mean about Gordon? He's coasting around the inside of the racetrack. He ought to be coming up on the racetrack.
Look, he's on the front stretch pits. He made the same mistake a year ago, Matt.
Pole sitter Ryan Newman already in a wedge and track bar and air pressure adjustment on the 12 car. He was way too tight. Meanwhile, the 77, Brendan Gaughan, you can see him crank it, making a significant chassis adjustment on that 77 car. Trouble on the left rear, going to lose a few seconds here. 17 seconds for Brendan Gaughan.
Warren Burton is in. Tony Stewart 2 laps down because of a penalty. Make that a lap down on account of the penalty is in.
That's a huge mistake for Jeff Gordon. I talked to Robbie Loomis this morning, his crew chief, about picking on the backstretch. He said, well, we had a mistake last year coming in. That's another reason I chose back here. Well, the mistake was not coming in this time. It was going out.
Rusty's in.
Rusty Wallace on pit road.
Mike, a few moments ago, Dale Earnhardt Jr. came on the radio and said, under green, that means I can pit coming off of turn 4, correct? And Tony Jr. said, that is correct. Dale Earnhardt Jr., the leader, making his way down pit road as Rusty Wallace is in. No changes again for Rusty Wallace. The last time they adjusted that race car during the final practice session on Saturday. Dale Jr. comes to a stop. Walt Smith's boys been practicing all week about having to get around obstacles, but no obstacles now on this green flag stop. A good solid stop as Kevin Tubular-Pennell hits the jack on the left side. Good stop. 14.1 seconds for the Bud guys.
All right, Terry Labonte's made his stop, and Johnny Sauter assumes the lead.
You know, physical and mental fatigue are 2 things that you battle at this racetrack more than anywhere else you go. And these mistakes coming in and out of the pits, it's just the driver has got his tongue hanging out right now.
Now who's going to have the lead is the guy that had to come to pit road to first under green because of a flat right front or a bad right front. Jimmy Johnson in the 48 car, having those fresh tires, all those extra laps has paid off for him. Plus the biggest sigh of relief, we've cycled through the green flag stops for him.
So Jimmy Johnson is the race leader. Scott Wimmer has not yet stopped. He's now shown the 2nd place car. Then Kurt Busch, Greg Biffle, Sterling Marlin. McDonald's drive-through pit crew championship standings among the teams that choose to participate. Kurt Busch leading after 5 races there. 125 to go in Bristol. Nextel Cup Racing on Fox, presented by Quaker State, is brought to you by Budweiser. It's time for a fresh one. Grab a Budweiser. The race is on.
Yeah, cover the 24 car.
We're under caution for contact between Derek Cope and the 4 of Kevin LePage.
Just got into him and lifted him up and turned him around.
Now, Greg Biffle has come in. So has Elliott Sadler, Jimmy Johnson, Scott Wimmer, who was coming into pit when the caution came out, and he stays on the lead lap. Kenny Schrader and Dale Jarrett, along with Jeremy Mayfield and Kevin Harvick.
It's kind of bad break for the 48 car. Good news, bad news. Good news is you were the leader of the race, but now you got to come back in and get your tires. You're going to restart what, Larry, in about 15th, 18th place.
Well, I think what he has going for him, Darrell, he had 55 laps on his tires. We only have 15 cars on the lead lap. As Mike just documented, over half those cars came to pit road, so I think that's his saving grace.
Dick Berggren.
When the caution flag came out, Kurt Busch got on the radio and he said, I'm driving a 3-legged dog. It's snapping loose on the exit. Jimmy Fennick, his crew chief, told him come in. They decided what air pressure changes they were going to make. Then on his own, Kurt Busch decided that not enough cars had pitted and he decided to stay out. Fennick, furious on top of the box, although he never communicated his anger to his driver, Kurt Busch. Busch then got on the radio and said, Jimmy, I just got to keep track position. They have enough gas to go to the end, but they got a car that may not be as good as it might have otherwise been.
Well, that track position is going to be position 1, but what's good now may not be so good later.
Yeah, you know, a three-legged dog. I had a dog, a three-legged dog. His name was Arithmetic. He'd put down 3 and carry 1.
Roof. Let's go to Steve Burns.
Want to give him a bone?
Well, Mike, we've been hearing about adjustments all day here. One thing you've heard a lot is wedge in or wedge out. This is the wedge wrench that one of the mechanics will stick in through a hole in the rear windshield. They'll turn this wrench, this clockwise or counterclockwise. What that does is it changes or adjusts the weight from one corner of the car to the other. Think of it as a big X in that race car. So if they take weight off the right front, they're actually transferring weight to the left rear. And again, as Larry Mack said early in this race, it's a small adjustment here in Bristol because you can't adjust wedge too far.
That's our Sears Craftsman adjustment. Larry has more.
Yeah, let's show you with our animation here how wedge works. You know, you have wheel weights, and the total of those wheel weights have to weigh 3,400 pounds. Now, when you take wedge out, you're putting more weight on this right rear right here. You're going to see we're actually going to back off. So this is actually putting wedge in. So we're actually taking weight off the right rear and taking it off the left front. And you'll see by our scale numbers here, you'll see how these weights changes. It's going to add weight here and take it off, these two right here. And that's actually putting wedge in by backing off the right rear jack boat.
The jet blowers trying to clear some of the rubber debris. And I'll tell you, the luckiest fellow right here was not Brendan Gaughan, who got the free pass, but this man, Scott Wimmer, trying to overcome a penalty. They had held him out as long as they could. He was on pit road when the caution came out. The team sent him back out and around, and he's able to stay on the lead lap also. NASCAR Nextel Cup Racing on Fox is presented by Quaker Stay, the power to reduce friction. And brought to you by Nextel. NASCAR and Nextel, partners in speed. And by WebMD, redefining modern medicine.
Glad to have you with us here on Fox. Time for a Visa race break and a quick recap. Rusty Wallace, who has a string of 103 races without a win, won his first Cup race here in Bristol and has 9 wins, most among active drivers. Took the lead for the 4th time today when he passed Sterling Marlin, but on lap 182 of the 8 car, Dale Earnhardt Jr. taking the lead from Rusty, and Jr. holding the lead until just moments ago when we had our 6th caution involving Derek Hope and Kevin LePage. We had gone through 171 laps of green flag racing, and Kurt Busch, Jeff Jimmy Fennick, not happy that Kurt Busch did not decide to pit. So what does that mean now for Kurt?
Guess what? It's all up to him. He made his bed. Basically, now he's got a lie in it. He said the car wasn't right. The crew chief wanted to work on it, but he elected to stay out front because he's in the leader. And so now he's going to have to hold that lead.
All right, and so far, winning 3 of the last 4 races here in Bristol, Kurt has a feel, a sense of the racetrack. Let's get a quick WebMD safety update with Dick Berggren. Okay. All right, Dick, you know, with that hat, he was delivering newspapers, I think, before we, but he's working hard on the safety report, which is something we have to be concerned with. Jeff Gordon, we were talking about, you know, this is a place he's won 5 times, trying to get back in the act. He's fallen in the last couple of weeks to 13th in the points race and having problems here where he thought he could turn things around.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here with this team here. I really expected him to be one of the guys contending for the win today. The car's not being quite right. You take a look right now at Robbie Loomis. They made a mistake during that green flag stop. Under green, you're allowed to come down, not go all the way around the racetrack and go back straight on the racetrack after you complete your pit stop. Well, Jeff came all the way around, not only down the hit straightaway, but he made the turn and came back down the front straightaway, which he didn't have to do. It cost him a lap. Now they find themselves with about 110 laps to go, trying to get themselves back up into a position where they can contend for the win and kind of redeem themselves a little bit. Kind of an embarrassing situation. It happened to them also last year.
Starting on the front row, but currently 17th. And the difference, you know, we had communication problems between driver, crew chief decisions, but Kurt Busch is your leader with his problem. Jeff Gordon behind. Let's go with Dick Berggren and the WebMD safety update. Take 2.
Going to show you some things you need and some things you don't need if you're going to be a race fan here at Bristol. Here's one of the most important things you're going to need. Tickets. You got to have tickets to get in. One of the toughest tickets in all sports for sure. You got to have a scanner. How come you got to have a scanner? So you can listen to the drivers. They're going to be mad at other drivers. They're going to be mad at their crew. They're going to be mad at themselves. You want to hear the whole thing. Got to have a scanner somehow or another. Here's something you don't need. Binoculars. You're so close to the racing action, you can see everything. You don't need those. Here's something else you don't need. A seat. Reason you don't need a seat. Action's so exciting. Going to be standing up the whole time. Got to have a t-shirt, man. Kurt Busch won 3 out of the last 4. You know, pick a winner. And here's something else. If you're going to sit up here with me, row 82 of the nosebleed section, you better have an oxygen mask.
All right, Dick, thanks. Now get your pit gear back on and get back to reporting. For information on how to keep your family safe and healthy, visit webmd.com or call Dick Berggren at home in New England. This has been a Visa Race Break. Let's go back upstairs.
He ran out of air going up there. He didn't run out of air while he was up there.
108 laps to go. Pole sitter Ryan Newman in that round of green flag stops found himself 1 lap down, so he'll be alongside Kurt Busch. When we get the restart, we have 16 cars on the lead lap.
Yeah, and just to set the stage here, of those 16 cars, we have 5 cars that stayed out. Kurt Busch, Sterling Marlin, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Michael Waltrip, Rusty Wallace, with about 15 to 25 laps on their tires. Jimmy Johnson, Greg Biffle, Dale Jarrett, Elliott Sadler, Ken Schrader, Scott Wimmer, Kevin Harvick, Jeremy Mayfield, Matt Kenseth, and Brendan Gaughan came to pit road. A real loser was the 42 car of Jamie McMurray. He stayed out, but it was a miscue. He should have pitted, so he pitted the next time, so he's going to restart this race in 14th position with about 106 laps to go.
All right, Darrell, at this stage in the race, would you rather have track position or tires?
Well, I'd like to have had both.
I know that. But
it's good. I think Kurt's basing his decision on what he's done here in the past. With different tires, I'm not sure that was a good decision.
Here's a decision. Let's crank it up.
Sounds good. Thunder Valley.
They may need a new slogan. Bristol, it's louder here. Jeff Gordon is trying to get back on the lead lap. So is Ryan Newman, but they can't catch Kurt Busch.
No, and what I liked about Kurt was, you know, even though Ryan was under him and tried to race him real hard there for a lap or 2, Kurt was able to run that outside and get around him and get away.
But what they're battling for, they want to be the first car in front of each other in case the caution comes out to get that pardon back on the lead lap. This late in the race, you want to do it, stay out in front while you have those fresh tires.
And I tell you the other thing I like is sometime when there's communication problem between driver and crew chief, crew wants to do one thing, driver wants to do something else, that puts out a pressure on that driver to get up on that wheel and get gone.
And I definitely think the best friends that Kurt Busch has is those friends behind him, Sterling Marlin, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Michael Waltrip, Rusty Wallace, that's on the equal tires that he is, because right now he's over a straightaway in front of the fresh tires of Jimmy Johnson in the 48.
And we heard Kurt earlier say, you know, my car's real good. I'm not abusing it. I'm not doing anything. I got a good race car here. Now he's proving it.
Tell you what, we got a battle between these two beer cars. Not a battle any longer. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in 8. He goes by Sterling Marlin in the 40 car. That was a battle for second.
Boy, I tell you, they have done such a great job, Larry, on that 8 car the last several weeks of keeping up with the racetrack. of making it the right adjustments at the right time so he's closing at the end.
And that's something they have not done a good job in the past. But I'm going to tell you who did a good job back when they made that move. Lee McCall on Sterling Marlin's car got the track position, and they've been able to keep it the final 2/3 of this race.
Kevin Harvick got past Elliott Sadler. That changes hands for 10th place. 95 laps to go. Everybody has enough fuel and probably enough tires to go the distance.
Now's when you show them what you got. This is the way to run Bristol. You stay out of trouble, keep your car clean like Kurt's is.
Oh, turn 2. Jeff Green got in the back of Ricky Craven. Craven straightened up, but then gone, hit Green.
Oh, he got the 10 around also.
Caution is out, so Ryan Newman will get the free pass. He will get the pardon.
Lap 407, the 7th caution of the day.
And that's the second time we've seen somebody get into the back of Ricky Craven in the 32 car and cause an accident.
Harlem Globetrotters scheme there on Riggs' car. Watch first the 32 of Craven, and then it's bing, bing, bing all the way down the line. Little contact there, but Brendan Gaughan gets into Jeff Green.
Yeah, by the time Jeff Green lifted a little bit, so he didn't spin out the 32 car. Here comes Brendan and bams into the back of him, and there he goes.
Chain reaction.
And back behind that, the 10 of Scott Riggs.
He was really a victim.
Oh, yeah. Here it is.
He was victimized.
I mean, Craven straightened up in the 32 car.
Oh, second time.
More help. Didn't get you last time. They'll try it again.
Actually, Brendan Gaughan did not get the 43 car. He pretty much did it by itself, it looked like, over in turn 2.
And then still couldn't see who turned Riggs. There was a car into the back of Scott Riggs. Let's watch from Bobby Labonte. Oh, it was Kyle Petty that got into Scott Riggs trying to check up.
Let's make sure about the 77 Brendan Gaughan behind the 43. Yeah, believe he did. Believe he did. Yep.
I think, Larry, I'd say Brendan got into it.
I'd say so.
It was by an accident, but he did get into it.
Scott, or I think Scott went to the garage. Riggs, he did, went behind the wall. Jeff Green made a pit stop.
His car was dog tracking. It's all knocked out of whack.
7 caution flags at Bristol. And now 8 cars behind the wall. 90 laps to go. Going to be 87 laps to go when they come around. Kurt Busch going for 3 in a row to tie Fred Lorenzen for 3rd on the all-time consecutive win list at Bristol. Darrell won 7 in a row. Cale Yarborough 4 in a row. Fred Lorenzen 3 in a row. Green flag.
Now, of course, Jeff Gordon in the 24 car. He's the car right behind Kurt Busch that wants to stay up there. He wants to get that caution where, like Ryan Newman, he can get the pardon to get back on the lead lap, especially after the mistake that he made earlier on that green flag stop.
Newman is the 17th and final car on the lead lap. Michael Waltrip in 4th place. Lapped car of Terry Labonte just ahead.
Michael's done a great job today. He's just stayed out of trouble, quietly worked his way up into the top 5.
And for a team that only has 1 top 30 finish, 37th in points, I think a good top 5, Steve, would just tickle that group to death.
I think a top 10, Steve.
Yeah, they're having a a good run, guys. Remember, Michael pitted on lap 364, so his tires are a little bit older. Michael's saying the car is just a little bit tight, but they are having a good day.
Just ahead of Michael, Rusty Wallace, who still so far has led the most laps of any driver. Some audio between Rusty and his crew chief. This was during the caution.
Rusty, I tell you, from here on out, we might be ahead of the game just to do 2. You know, there's 90 laps to go. I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, sure, what Larry Carter is basing that off of is what he saw Sterling Marlin prevail with 2 tires earlier. But Rusty just knows this racetrack is getting slick right there. There's not that many cars on lead lap. And actually, Rusty just went by Dale Earnhardt Jr. Dale continues to lose positions.
You know, I think he's got it almost looks like he got a soft right front tire. I'm not sure, but something's up with that race car, and I believe it's a tire.
Marlin went by for second and Wallace for third.
And he's fixing to lose 2 or 3 more spots. Michael Waltrip in the 15, Jimmy Johnson with those real fresh tires in the 48, and Dale Jarrett in the 88.
Inside, 1 car.
He agrees with you, Darrell.
Yeah, it's a tire. I'm not sure if it's a right front or not, but it's a tire. And you can see he's really got crank. He's really got a handful there. He's got a tire problem, I think.
And of course, I mean, this is where you feel that real pressure as a driver and a crew chief. You know a green flag stop with 80 laps to go is going to take you out of the equation, but you don't want to stay out there, lose that tire, and hit that wall. So we have 2 people wanting that caution, Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Yeah, he's definitely fighting with a problem, Larry. It's more than likely, since he's able to run this long, it could be a left side tire. But he's doing the same thing I'd be doing. I got a tire going down, but I don't know which one it is.
Junior last pitted 50 laps ago. Trying to hold on to a lead lap finish here as Kurt Busch extends his margin over Sterling Marlin and has the lap car of Jeff Gordon between himself and second place.
Yeah, I thought Junebug had about the only car I thought that might be able to challenge the 97, and now he's got problems.
Dick Berggren.
When the caution flag flew a few laps ago, Kurt Busch got on the radio and politely asked Jimmy Fennick, do we pit now? And Fennick politely got back on the radio and said, we're going to take this baby all the way to the end. Since then, they have reminded Busch about tire strategy, tire management, conserve the tires.
And remind him, don't race people that can't beat you. And Jeff Gordon's a lap down. If he gets up there and starts hounding you, let him go.
Jimmy Johnson in that 48 car pulls up behind Michael Waltrip in the 15. This is a battle for 4th. And just remember, Jimmy Johnson has about 20 less laps on his tires. Steve Burns, that could prevail with just a little over 70 laps to go.
It might, Larry Mack, and he said he's got some good strategy. He says, I'm saving my right front tire for the end of the race, but I do have very good forward bite.
And of course, the thing he don't want to have to do is have to fight cars like Michael Waltrip so long that he abuses that right front tire.
And boy, they've really picked up the pace, Larry. I mean, they were running high 17s or mid 17s earlier, and we're right now last lap 16:30.
Yeah, Kurt Busch ran the fastest lap in this race of his car back 10 laps ago at lap 4:15 at a 15:82 around a half-mile racetrack.
Dale Jr. now 2/3 of a lap down, continuing to fade, Matt.
70 laps to the finish. It continues.
There he goes. There he goes.
He spins around.
And Casey Mears gets caught up
is out
with Stanton Barrett.
Yeah, I believe he's going to stay on the lead lap. He will, because remember, the field is frozen. The field is frozen.
And the leader is instructed, when you see the caution, slow down to pace lap speed.
He brought the caution that he needed, and it worked out just perfect. And Jeff Gordon will get the pardon. He'll be back on the lead lap here with about 60 to 70 laps to go.
Well, you know, you make your own luck, and he just made a whole pot full of it.
Dale Jr. spins to bring out the 8th caution of the day. I remember a race, it was a short track race, I forget where his father heard Richard Childress on the radio saying, Dale, we're about to go a lap down. We need a caution. Dale says, working on it.
Yeah.
And they got one.
Oh, yeah.
See him go off into turn 1 and 2. Thing just comes around with him. Yep. Luckily, he don't hit anything. No one hits him. In fact, almost a big mess back there with Casey Mears in the 41 and Stanton Barrett.
But, you know, he was falling back. I think he was looking for the end of the line so he could get to pit road. And fortunately, there were not that many cars, good cars behind him.
Joey Chit would be proud. Who's going to stop? Who's going to not? Who's going to do 2? Who's going to do 4?
And Darrell, I just believe if I'm going to take the time and give up any track position to come to pit road, I'm going to do 4 tires. I'm not going to mess around with 2 tires.
This race last fall here, Matt Kenseth was running 15th or 16th, came in, got him 4 fresh tires, and almost won the race.
Looks like Kevin Harvick in the 29, Jamie McMurray in the 42, Matt Kenseth in the 17. Pretty much all the cars that was about 10th place back, which it makes a good sense.
Wimmer, Mayfield gone, along with Newman, of course, Jr. pitting.
Kenseth keeps good notes, doesn't he?
8th yellow of the day, 67 laps to go. 160,000 fans here, and nobody headed for the exit. You'll see why when we come back. NASCAR on Fox, presented by Quaker State. Nextel Cup Racing on Fox, presented by Quaker State, is brought to you by Sunoco, the new official fuel of NASCAR. Good enough for NASCAR, good enough for your car. Getting set for the restart. Why have none of these fans left Bristol? Remember last August? Look at which 2 cars were involved in that bump and run. Kurt Busch and Sterling Marlin. Look at which 2 cars are 1-2 as they come around for the restart. Kurt Busch and Sterling Marlin. With Rusty Wallace, Jimmy Johnson, Michael Waltrip, green flag. Matt, what was wrong with Dale Jr.?
Well, under the caution before, Mike, he said the car was loose and continued to just get more free. He was just trying to hang on to it. And then you heard him say that he spun the car because it was going to be going down with a tire. They found out the tire was fine. Actually, what was wrong, Mike? There were lugs loose on the left rear, hollowed out the openings where the studs are. They also took the wheel off, just checked everything again, sent him back out. He is good to go.
Well, Matt, I know what's going on out here on the racetrack right now. Terry Labonte in the 5, Mark Martin in the 6, Johnny Sauter in the 30. They are Kurt Busch's best friends right now because they dealt Sterling Marlin in the 40 car a fit on that restart. In fact, Rusty Wallace in the 2 gets by Sterling for 2nd place. You know, you were talking about that bump and run. All I know is behind Kurt Busch right now there's a man in 2nd place that's on a 3-year losing streak, and a man behind him, Sterling Marlin, that's on a 2-year losing streak. Mighty hungry guys back there.
Sterling has never won a short track cup race.
And both of them have had great days. Rusty's had a good day all day. Great pit stops, good race car.
But they're right now in just about 3 laps. Kurt Busch has pulled out in front of Rusty Wallace by almost 2 seconds because of those cars that are a lap down, trying to stay up there to get back on the lead lap.
I think the telltale is going to be when we get down to about 30 to go, and if Kurt's tires are going to make it to the finish where he can keep up the pace he's running right now. He's running real hard there. He's running 16 flats, and that's pretty quick right now.
Let's also mention that Matt Kenseth picked up some spots on pit road. Killer Bees did their job. Kenseth restarted 11th. That's where the defending series champion and point leader run right now. Let's take you back to 8th place. Dale Jarrett, Kevin Harvick.
And what has happened right here, Kevin Harvick in the 29, he pitted on that last caution, so he's the first car up there with fresh tires, and I think definitely that Dale Jarrett in 88, probably Ken Schrader in the 49, will fall in the clutches of these fresher tires. But what a great run for Kenny Schrader in that 49 car. This team has struggled so much this year. They got that full sponsorship. They have a solid run going today.
Let's check with Jeannie on Kevin Harvick.
Well, you guys noticed him. Look who's back, the 29 car. 2nd weekend in a row where this team has struggled early, but they picked it up late. The first time they were in the top 10 all day, just a handful of laps ago. And you want to know why? Massive adjustments. Which ones? Well, the answer is yes. They did everything.
The other car coming is Kenseth with those fresh tires. He's just broken into the top 10.
Well, and Dale Jarrett was a sitting duck. He was the last car to stay out there on the lead lap and not pit. And when you look in your rearview mirror and you see all those other cars peeling off, you go, ruh-roh.
Well, yeah, that's what happens when you're up front like that. If you stay out, everybody else comes in. If you come in, everybody else stays out.
5-point margin over his Roush Racing teammate.
That Kurt Busch has been coming little by little, race by race.
50 laps to go as Busch crosses the line in the Food City 500 as Jimmy Johnson chases down Sterling Marlin. The big question, Darrell, is can Rusty Wallace catch Kurt Busch?
The interval is staying about the same, and if I'm knowing Jimmy Finning, he's talking to Kurt. He's giving him those lap times, giving him those intervals so he doesn't run the tires off his race car.
You know, the turning point for Jimmy Johnson, we were just watching him in that 48 car. It's hard to believe that having a right front tire problem under green could be your turning point. But because he pitted early, got those fresh tires about 30 to 40 laps sooner than everyone, he made up so much ground, and the caution came out perfect after everyone had cycled through green flag stops.
Jimmy Johnson with a continued run of good luck. We're going to take a break and come back, take you all the way to the checkered flag here in Bristol. Setting the stage for the run to the finish. Caution is out for the 9th time today. Stanton Barrett, the American Ford, into the wall in turn 2.
Big break for Matt Kenseth.
Bad break for Kurt Busch.
Bad break for teammate. They may end up racing each other.
Yeah, because what we have right now, with probably about 30 laps to go when we get restarted, we have Kurt Busch in the 97, Rusty Wallace in second. In the 2 car, Sterling Marlin in the 40, they all are approaching that 100-lap mark on their tires. Jimmy Johnson behind them in the 48, he has about 20 less laps, but I want to tell you the cat to watch is back there in 5th right now, Kevin Harvick. He came to pit road just about 20 to 25 laps ago. He has the fresher tires of all this group.
And he's been working right up through there, so we got some cars back here that are going to be coming on.
Kurt Busch is saying, guys, please behave. I don't need any more cautions.
Stanton Barrett, way up top of your screen, up and into the wall at turn. There will be pit stops. Jimmy Johnson, Michael Waltrip, Greg Biffle, then Mayfield, Jarrett, Sadler, and Earnhardt.
They took a note out of what Matt Kenseth did. I think that's a good move.
Steve?
Well, guys, Jimmy Johnson's saying he's just a little bit too tight, so they'll put 4 tires on, 1.5 rounds in the right rear tire to take care of that tight problem. Left side tires going on. Corey Quick and Joe Sandolini, good job again for the 48.
Now coming around to the front stretch side are Biffle, Sadler, and Earnhardt. Johnny Sauter also pitted. Dick?
Well, Greg Biffle had been running in the 9th position. The car was just a little bit tight. They decided nothing to lose, a lot to gain, so they've come in to fire 4 new tires at it and see if it'll run better on those. To Matt.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. in. This will be a 4-tire change. Going to make a track bar adjustment. Troy Prince made the adjustment. As the left sides go on, no fuel for Dale Earnhardt Jr. Doesn't need it, and he's down and away.
We hear Jimmy Johnson's going to come back in. Be fixed. Terry Labonte comes in. He will be the free pass car. Will be the final car on the lead lap when we go back to green in 20th position.
I tell you, I just believe the cars we better keep a watch on is Kevin Harvick in that 29 and Matt Kenseth in that 17, 4th, 5th position. And Jimmy Johnson just about missed his pit box back there. Those guys, they have literally no laps on their tires, Darrell. And remember, Kurt Busch, Rusty Wallace, Sterling Marlin, 100 laps.
0. Remember last week?
Yes.
Got him out of the pit. He wins the race. Today he had a shot at winning the race until a loose lug nut.
Well, we said we'd be with you to the finish. That, of course, assumed green flag condition. These drivers take pit stops. Let's take a quick one. We'll be back for the restart. Accidents will happen. 9 of them so far here at Bristol Motor Speedway, and still 32 laps to run. Kurt Busch, Rusty Wallace, Sterling Marlin. As our Quaker State aerial coverage shows, no traffic on Highway 11E outside Bristol Motor Speedway. This is the kind of place where nobody goes home until it's over.
And you better not go home when it's over, because it could get interesting down in the infield of this racetrack.
Yeah, we haven't had any real temper tantrums today other than Tony there early on, but so many things are setting up here, guys. The 97 and the 40. There's Mark Martin up there. Remember what happened at Rockingham when his teammate was leading the race on the restart? He got called to the big red truck, the Oval Office.
Right. Darrell, you've won here 9 times. What do you do in this situation? You're Kurt Busch. You've got the lead. You got 32 laps to go. You got worn tires. What do you do?
I don't know, but if Hammond was down there, what he'd be doing? He'd be eating ice cream right now. And we'd be getting ready to go to Victory Circle.
But I tell you what, I like Kevin Harvick in that 29, Matt Kenseth in that 17. I don't know if they're going to have enough laps, but they do have fresh tires, and Kurt Busch has 100 laps on his tires.
Here's what it looks like from the best seat in the house, high above Bristol Motor Speedway at Suite Level 2, looking down on 160,000 fans and what's left of this 43-car field. Going to settle it out here over the final 30 laps. Matt.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. will restart from the 16th position, 30 laps to get it done. Tony Sr., a lot of conversation, not happy that they are blowing the track off.
Well, they raced on the track dirty all day. They blew it one time to get down here at the end of the race whenever they could put a race on. Now they want to blow their track and waste 10 or 15 laps riding around here with a pace car out there. So it seems like they want to do it every week here lately. I don't know what their problem is. Come in, make a pit stop, put tires on, think you're going to go out there and do something, and they won't sit down here and ride around for 20 laps while they blow the rubber off the racetrack. I don't know what their problem is.
In fact, Dale Earnhardt Jr. said they might as well just open the gate and let traffic come in too. Chris?
All right, and Jeff, your thoughts on those comments, former crew chief yourself?
Well, what's going on right now, Chris, as far as Tony Sr., what he's trying to explain is that they've got themselves in a situation where they need a lot of green flag racing, and NASCAR is basically taking that away from him, and he's not happy about that. He wants to go racing. He feels like he's got a good race car, had a little bit of a problem. They've got it fixed. He wants that opportunity to try to make up some ground. So basically, guys, what I'm telling you to do right now is roll them sleeves up and get ready. We're at Bristol. These last few laps are going to be wild and woolly.
All right, another veteran crew chief, Jimmy Fennig. He's the guy for Kurt Busch, and he's standing by with Dick Berggren. Dick?
Yeah, Jimmy, we've just heard from another crew chief who thinks they shouldn't blow the racetrack off. We've got caution here. You're leading the race. What do you think?
Well, NASCAR's doing what they need to do. I mean, there was stuff out there. We'll just see what happens at the end here. Kurt's doing an awesome job.
Okay, good luck to you, Mike.
Things look pretty good when the only thing in front of you is the pace car, Darrell.
You know what we used to say when we come here, boys? This is where you put your work clothes on right here. Got work to do.
Yes, sir.
9th caution flag. It's going to be 28 laps to run as they line up double file for the restart. Kurt Busch is your leader, trying to three-peat. Rusty Wallace is second. Sterling Marlin is third. Kevin Harvick, Matt Kenseth, Jamie McMurray, Kenny Schrader, Ryan Newman, Jeff Gordon, Scott Wimmer, the top 10. There are 20 lead lap cars as we get set to go back to green for hopefully the final 28 laps.
And Rusty Wallace in that 2 car, he wants to stay hooked right to Kurt Busch in that 97. He'd like to clear Mark Martin before they come off turn 2.
And you got to remember now, Mark is trying to be the first car a lap down. He's trying to get a lap back. So, you know, it doesn't matter who's leading the race right now. He's just doing his job.
And the good thing about it right now, Kurt Busch in the 97, our leader, he has clean racetrack in front of him. He can hit his marks and run his groove. But I'm telling you, you can just see Rusty Wallace gripping that steering wheel in 2 right now.
Oh, hungry dog.
He's gnawing on that thing right now. And he's going to be gnawing on that back bumper if he can get to it. He will not take no for an answer. And I believe Sterling Marlin's got a problem.
Kevin Harvick around the outside of Marlin.
It looked like he had a problem. I don't know if he had to check up down there off of 4 what happened, but they got a run on him. I know that.
Rusty Wallace is about 2 car lengths, 26 laps away from his first win in over 100 races.
And he feels like, you know, Jeff Gordon cost him one here a couple of years ago. And I don't think he wants to let one get away today if he's got a shot. I think something's wrong with Sterling, Larry.
Yeah, look at this battle for third. I think what's wrong, Darrell, is 100-lap tires versus Kevin Harvick's fresh tires. And remember, Matt Kenseth in that 17 right behind him, along with Jamie McMurray, they have fresh tires too. That's what's wrong with Sterling, but he's not ready to give up.
I think Mark just had a problem too. He just saw a bunch of smoke fly out of his car. I think they're, 48, I think there's oil on the track.
48 and 38 got together. Now everybody straightens out.
We'll see here. I thought there might be some oil from Mark's car.
Boy, Kurt really washed up down in turn 1 and 2, but he got a good run off turn 2. They'll be coming back to the line. 22 laps to go.
Mark Martin is slowed up, but is still running. We stay under green.
Every time he goes through 3 and 4, though, Mike, I do see some smoke trail out of that race car.
Yeah, something happened to it. I'm not sure exactly what. But in the meantime, back at the ranch.
Rusty got off turn 2 and got to within a foot of Kurt Busch's rear bumper.
And Darrell, Kurt Busch, he has to hug that yellow line. He can't open that door an inch for Rusty Wallace in that 2 car.
Just don't overdrive. Float it in. Get back to the throttle quick. He'll never get around you.
That time, Busch beat Wallace back to the throttle off 2.
Easy in, hard off.
That's exactly right. Kurt Busch cannot overdrive the entrance to the corner.
Whoa. And he cannot look in his mirror.
Man, he did something there. Rusty really had a look on the inside going down into 1. That was almost a disaster.
20 to go.
Rusty's last win, California 2001, 103 races ago.
He's got the best chance he's had in a long time to lose his to win that race.
And Darrell, he's had a good race car ever since they unloaded.
77.
Caution is out. Caution is out.
Somebody got Brendan Gaughan.
I think it may have been Dale Jr.
I think you may be right. Now, Gaughan also had a tire rub, and he falls from 11th place to the tail end of the lead lap with 19 to go.
Well, he's got serious damage. He hit that inside retaining wall hard.
Everything's still working.
Let's see what happened here.
Got a little smoke there, but that didn't cause him that problem, I don't think.
Definitely looked like Dale Earnhardt Jr. and they got into the back of
Just
it.
nailed him, yeah.
He had a tire smoking, but I don't think it had anything to do with what happened.
No, that's just Dale Jr.'s got 4 fresh tires, and he was in a hurry.
Matt?
Brendan Gaughan telling his crew chief Shane Wilson the steering wheel is still straight, meaning he didn't knock the toe out on that 77 car, although there is considerable cosmetic damage to the whole nose of that machine.
Prior to that, Tony Eury and Dale Jr. have been invited to the Oval Office, DW's hotspot, for conversation. Now they'll have a little more to talk about.
Yeah, I'm sure they didn't appreciate the comments about blowing off the track.
And I would say with 15 to go, they will have a company down there before it's all over.
Oh, yeah.
And Brendan Gaughan, the 77, he still is on the lead lap. Right now, we have 20 cars on the lead lap. Robbie Gordon in the 31 will get the pardon. He'll be back on the lead lap.
But if I was 77, if I was Gaughan, I'd bring that car to pit road and work on it. They don't need to stay out there. He gets under speed, the thing will start rubbing, smoking tires, and there he comes.
He comes along with Mayfield and Labonte. Terry Labonte. Still 20 cars on the lead lap, and the question now is, can we get this race restarted with more than 10 laps to go? It would be a double file restart. 10 laps or less, it would be a single file restart. Lead lap cars to the front. Which would favor Kurt Busch? Which would favor Rusty?
Quite honestly, I mean, Rusty would be better off with a single file restart. Kurt's going to be better off with a double file restart. He gets a little jump, gets some traffic in between him and Rusty. Adios.
Yeah, single file restart. Rusty will not have that car a lap down to fight on the inside of Kurt Busch.
Right now, single file, he starts second. When they double up, he starts third.
Kurt Busch trying to make history, win 3 in a row, and 4 out of the last 5. That's the 4-peat we talked about earlier. Rusty Wallace trying to break history, that triple-digit non-winning streak.
And you know, I got to give a tip of the hat to Rusty. Been working really hard, changing things around, crew members, crew chiefs, trying to get back to victory circle. And man, you know he's got to be sitting there thinking right now, this is the best opportunity. And there's Larry Boy Carter right there. He worked with me up there at Travis Carter's in 2000. Good guy, good crew chief.
If you weren't with us yesterday, the finish of the race was unbelievably exciting in the NASCAR Busch Series. Let's show it to you right here at Bristol. There's the first bit of trouble. David Stremme into the wall off Kevin Harvick. Then Stremme waits around, and the orange car that comes into view, well, it was Johnny Benson. It wasn't Kevin Harvick, but he and Stremme got together. Benson up into the wall. After the race, Benson comes over to the window for a conversation with David Stremme, which continued on into the Oval Office.
It was very crowded after the race.
What did Michael say? Those guys were mad up in there.
But you know, Mike, you talked about the losing streak of Rusty Wallace in the new car. It would be his 55th career win, it would be Larry Carter's first career win as a crew chief.
Now, don't leave. Just please don't leave. Yesterday, during the last 10 laps of the Busch race, every position from second on back changed.
Yeah, we even had one guy that said, I've had enough, and came to pit road early before the race even ended. He was running second, ended up 17th.
And you know, just to follow up on Larry Carter, I remember my first career win back at Watkins Glen in 1988. Matt, what's going on down there in the two pits?
Larry Mack, if they can pull off this win, not only will it be Larry Carter's first win as crew chief, it'll be his first win ever. You think back through all the years of association in NASCAR racing, even with his uncle Travis Carter, he has never, ever gone to a Nextel Cup Series victory lane. Maybe today will be the day as we get ready to restart.
Who will it be? Kurt Busch, Rusty Wallace, and right behind them, Kevin Harvick, Sterling Marlin, point leader Matt Kenseth, Jamie McMurray, Kenny Schrader, Ryan Newman. Here we go.
Rusty spun the tires on the start of the race.
He just spun the tires right there, and I don't know how much it's going to hurt him, but I think with Kevin Harvick on better tires, he better get going.
Attaboy to Tony Stewart, who gave the lead lap cars plenty of room to race.
12 laps to go this time. Kurt Busch, as you say, just don't need to overdrive that corner right now, as he has about a 3-car length lead through 1 and 2.
Well, Rusty's car, I believe, is a little bit better than Kurt's. It's just the question, can he get to him?
Rusty did get off turn 2 very good that time. His car's not hooking up off the corner.
I think this is when a driver, it's when you really start trying too hard, Larry. You need to take a deep breath and let it come to you.
And right now, Rusty Wallace, he has that rearview mirror full of Kevin Harvick in the 29 car. And yeah, Kevin's really driving that car down in the corner.
Both these guys are going to have their hands full with that 29 car.
10 laps to go this time.
And our red flag lap is 495. 5 more laps. We would not have a red flag should we get a caution past 495.
And let's say Matt Kenseth's up to 5th place.
And coming.
Got a pretty good looking old hot rod too. And the 42 is right there behind him, hounding him pretty good.
For a driver who brought out the first caution of the day and fell back to 28. That's why recover, and he almost takes out Kenseth.
Man, he really is pounding on him.
And he's going to have the position. He'll take it away.
Matt. Not now, buddy. You're a champion.
Not with 8 laps to go. And NASCAR has been calming them down through spotters and crew.
Trouble, 88
Jarrett in the wall. And will we see the yellow? Not yet.
No caution.
Not yet.
There it is.
Caution is out with 7 to go.
There it is. See, this is what happened yesterday. Had a caution late. Grouped everybody up, and then we had that wild finish.
Got any brakes? Check your brakes.
Now, when we come back around, we'll be 6 to go. And we're hearing, remember the red flag lap, I just talked about it, 495.
Let's see what happened here, Larry. Wait a minute. Oh, he got together with the 22 car. Man.
All right, the pace car will pick up the field and stop them on the back straightaway. Again, we look out at 160,000 seats, and they are still all full.
No, they ain't. They're empty. Everybody's standing up right now.
We're standing in them.
But you know, I don't like this right here, bringing the cars down pit road.
Listen to the crowd, though.
They like it.
Yeah, they do.
Strategy, schmategy.
I'd rather stop them out on the racetrack. That was my point. I mean, I'd rather not come down in through the debris and all the stuff you got to go through on hot tires.
But you know what, Darrell? I think Dale Jarrett put so much debris down the backstretch, I think that they want a free racetrack to try to blow it off.
The red flag is issued, and a lot of smoke from the right side exhaust of Mark Martin's car as he comes down.
Yeah, he's got an engine problem of some nature there.
But he's still holding on to 23rd place. And there is Dale Jarrett's UPS Ford.
These guys had fought all day long to stay on the lead lap, had a good race car. And he's still on the lead lap right now, but it's going to be very marginal doing it for these final 5 laps.
Yeah, he's going to have to stop and put some tires on the thing. They're going to have trouble getting it jacked up, so he's still got some work to do.
Scott Wimmer and Dale Jarrett get together to bring out the 11th caution of the afternoon.
The 32 car shoved him up the hill. Wimmer got under him, and then they just get to banging on it. Ooh. Looked like Dale kind of got loose and swerved into him.
Yeah, I mean, Wimmer never really moved up off the bottom of the racetrack.
Dale got loose off of 4 there and then slammed into Wimmer.
Could Jarrett's tire have been going down as he came off the corner?
Possibly cut it down that left front.
And just remember, we always talk about the inner line or safety shield. Because this is a short track, they do not run them in the left sides. They run them in the right sides, but not the left side. It's just tire and a rim.
Well, this is the middle of the 9th inning stretch. Red flag is out. The cars are stopped. Kurt Busch can sit there and think about winning 3 in a row. He's our leader. Rusty Wallace can sit there and think about what too many folks have reminded him of, how long it's been since he's been to victory lane.
Yeah,
and Kevin Harvick, with the freshest tires of all, has that Cheshire Cat grin sitting right behind them.
Yeah, it's the end of the 9th, 2 outs, bases loaded, full counts what it is.
Well, yeah, and of course, you know, with Rusty, this is such a great opportunity for him to win this race, and I know he'd like to. I know he's chomping.
NASCAR rules require that this race be run by the entry blank, in that it is 500 laps long. We don't have a rule like you see in short track racing or in even some other NASCAR touring series where they will run green, white checker at the end of whatever the last caution period is. One reason that was established was to say we go by the entry blank so that, let's say, somebody couldn't spin, burn out a caution, and have the race extend for a little bit. It's 500 laps, and that's all it is. So NASCAR has taken to stopping the cars under the red flag when there is a late caution so that the race can finish under green if possible.
I like green, white, checkered. I mean, I think that's the best way to solve this situation where you don't have to stop the cars. You go green, white, checkered. Everybody happy.
We have heard from the leader's pit. Let's go to Rusty's pit.
Larry Carter, 6 laps and 1 spot away from your first Nextel Cup Series win of any kind. Boy, you can really feel the pressure down here, can't you?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of pressure, but, you know, we've had a good car all day, and we've been running good, and that's the thing we got to do every week. We got to run good every week. If we do that, the wins will come, you know, so we'll just see what happens here the last 5 laps.
You didn't want to see the yellow come out, did you?
Well, it looked like we were, you know, gaining on Kyle a little bit. Kurt, maybe gaining on him a little bit, and, you know, so, yeah, that yellow might have hurt us. We'd rather seen it just go green.
To Chris and Jeff.
All right, thanks very much. With Jeff Hammond, we're out of the Hollywood Hotel. We are in Victory Lane. We got 160,000 people standing and more gathering around here where Kurt Busch has been recently, where Rusty Wallace would like to get to once again.
But Chris, right now, what I am feeling coming up inside of Victory Lane right now is there's a lot of emotion. There's a lot of people saying, go Rusty, go, and a lot of people saying, come on, Kirk, you can do it one more time. So there's a lot of folks up here that are divided about who they want to Victory Lane, but there's a lot, guarantee you one thing, it's going to be exciting no matter who gets here.
A standstill moment. It's not just a 2-man race, but certainly Rusty Wallace, Kurt Busch in the best position. Jeannie Zelasco will be with us to talk to the winner in just a few moments when the confetti flies. Right now, let's check in with Dick Berggren.
And I'm with Jimmy Fennig. What does your driver, Kurt Busch, have to do to get there in Victory Lane?
Well, he's just got to stay focused and do what he did all day. You know, he drove the hell out of that car, and he's doing an awesome job. Right now, I've been telling him that Harvick right now has been pressuring Rusty. So those two, let's hope those two do a little racing and we can check out these last few laps.
Good luck to you, Jimmy.
Look at the grandstand at Bristol Motor Speedway. 160,000 seats, including the suites. I don't see any empty ones.
No. A lot of these people were here yesterday, and this is when the action really picked up yesterday.
And that's the great thing, I think, that sets our sport aside from any other sport. You know, if a team has a big league in any other stick and ball sports, you know, you can leave and you know the results. You better not leave a NASCAR race until you see the checkered flag wave.
Oh, yeah, this is where they said it ain't over till it's over.
Car. Rusty came home second that night.
You know, that could happen to Rusty again, but it might be for second place. Because Harvick is up there, too, and Harvick's got good tires. And he thinks if he could get by Rusty, he could get by the 97 car, Kurt Busch. So
there's Kevin Harvick in the Goodwrench Chevy. You know, it's been a good day for the veterans. Dale Jarrett's crash that brought out this red flag notwithstanding. Ken Schrader, the BAM Racing Dodge that competed all last season with single race sponsors, now has Schwann's Food Service on for the full year. And Schrader with a 7th place run here thus far.
He's had a quietly good weekend. He qualified pretty decent, and he's run well all day long. He's done a great job.
He's just looking for his first top 20 finish of 2004, so this would be a great run. Already it's been a great run for this group.
When I think about racers, you know, racers are a different breed of cat. I think about Kenny Schrader. He's kind of like a picture of what a racer is all about. He'll race anything, anywhere, anytime, every day, every week.
But when you think about a place like this, this short track, it's right up his alley.
Oh, yeah.
Coming up tonight on Fox, full hour of King of the Hill and a full hour of The Simpsons. Malcolm in the middle and Arrested Development. Now, if you want to race the pros, the online video game is available only at foxsports.com. Keyword games. This is no game. You won't find this scenario in any of the online or video games. Kurt Busch ready to go. Rusty Wallace ready to pounce. Kevin Harvick, I've got fresher tires than you do. Sterling Marlin, Jamie McMurray, and point leader Matt Kenseth, your top half dozen. Then it's Ken Schrader, and here's Matt.
Mike, Larry, Max said on Friday, qualifying starts your week, and it dictates how the momentum and the confidence begins to build. And that's exactly what happened to Ken Schrader. Qualified 19th. He ran 63 laps in the final practice session and parked it, said the car is good, let's leave it alone. He's had a solid day, small adjustments throughout the day. The car started out tight, then it got a little free, and then they've left it alone over the last couple stops. His best finish with his team, BAMS Racing's career best finish, 8th last year, August at Michigan in 8th. Currently sits 7th. We talk a lot about the fact that Rusty Wallace has gone 103 races without a win. Ken Schrader, he has gone 411 races without a win. His last top 5 finish was Richmond back in 1998. He just needs 2 more spots to break that stat today.
And a couple of guys also that are just, I mean, they were laps down, already lapped down at one time or another. Ryan Newman is in 8th, and there sits Jeff Gordon back in 9th place. So those guys have done a great job, Larry, of recovering.
Yeah, and right behind Jeff Gordon, 2 or 3 positions, a guy that's had a good run, a rookie candidate, Scott Wimmer, the 22 car. Remember how he went a lap down was the 1-lap penalty box issued by NASCAR early in the race when him and Tony Stewart got together, beating and banging. They put him in the penalty box, and he's sitting there in 12th.
Hey, you see his right side? When your right side is torn up, that means you've been racing. When your left side's torn up, that means you've been in the way.
Good point.
What about when both sides are torn up like that Bill Davis car of Scott Wimmer? We have 20 lead lap cars. That includes Johnny Sauter, Elliott Sadler, Greg Biffle, Jimmy Johnson, Jeremy Mayfield, Terry Labonte, Robbie Gordon, and Brendan Gaughan. Here's how the point standings would sit the way they are running. Matt Kenseth 16 up on Kurt Busch. Junior, Tony, Jimmy, 1 through 5, 6 through 10, pole sitter Ryan Newman, Hot Rod Harvick, Mayfield, Sadler, and Marlin.
You know, Larry, next week we go to Texas, super fast super speedway where speeds will be around 200 miles an hour. Then we get a week off. Then we go where?
I think we go to Martinsville, the other short track.
DW is going to drive at Martinsville. I'm going to see the world's greatest doctor tomorrow, Albert Gillespie, and he's going to clear me to run Martinsville.
He told you that?
He told me that last night.
All right. Next week, another big weekend of racing across the Fox networks. Friday, you'll see NASCAR Busch Series final practice on Speed Channel, along with Bud Pole qualifying for the Nextel Cup cars. Then on Saturday, final Cup practice and the O'Reilly 300 presented by Old Spice. That'll be on Fox at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Next Sunday, NASCAR This Morning on the net and the Samsung Radio Shack 500, 1 p.m. Eastern, right here on Fox.
At one of the greatest America speedways right there, the Great American Speedway, Texas Motor Speedway.
But first, we have this score to settle in Thunder Valley. Kurt Busch was 1.1 seconds up on Rusty Wallace under the caution lap before they stopped him. He was actually about a car length ahead of Rusty, or 2 at most, in the last lap run under green. They have refired the cars, going to bring them around and settle this one off. Right now on the scoreboard, 5.5 laps to go.
And Mike, you and Darrell were talking about this earlier. This restart will be what we call a down finger restart, a single file restart. There will be no lap cars to the inside, lead lap cars only to the front for this 3 or 4 lap shootout. That's right there. That's the trophy, DW. You've got 12 of them. That's the one these guys want to get to.
They haven't changed them either. That's the same way it's always been. Matt.
DW, back in September of 2002, Ryan Newman went to victory lane for the first time. It was also the first career win for his crew chief, Matt Borland. The team spirit here in the Penske camp, big time. Matt Borland got off his box, walked next door, climbed up the ladder to Larry Carter, and said, good luck. I bet.
To go when we come around under caution.
Boy, Kurt's having something. I see black smoke coming out the tailpipes. I don't know if it just loaded up a little bit on him, I guess.
And Darrell, I see him running down there on the apron. That may be because Jimmy Finney, his crew chief, has told him, you know, you've been out there about 140 laps. He's going to be getting low on fuel. I don't think he's in danger of running out. When you're on the bank and under caution, the fuel runs away from the fuel pickup.
Something happened. The engine did die. I saw him refire it.
Sitting next to Fennig up on the box, car owner Jack Roush. Our condolences to Jack, who lost his dad a week ago. And then spent Tuesday and Wednesday at the behest of NASCAR in Washington meeting with congressional and Senate leaders. Let's get downstairs, Dick Berggren.
When the pace car first took off, Mike, Kurt Busch was annoyed. He said he couldn't run the car that slow. Pace car was going very slowly. He said the car was just chugging. Moments after that, the pace car picked up the pace, and well, you can see right now the pace is okay.
I was saying after Washington, Jack Roush.
Plenty of fuel to go. You got plenty of fuel.
Jack returned to Ohio for family business, went to Detroit, take care of some things, and then came here to Bristol to race. Piece of sheet metal out there.
Yikes. Went right over the top of it.
And Darrell, right here, I mean, all these cars, even Kevin Harvick has substantial laps on their tires. You can't, none of these guys can make that mistake that Rusty Wallace made a while ago on that restart and spin those rear tires. Very easy to do on hot tires and on concrete.
Yeah, you want to anticipate this start as best you possibly can.
They give 2 to go. Track truck waiting to pick up that piece of metal debris right up in turn number 3. 1 to go next time by.
What basically means we'll get a 2-lap shootout, and that's with a capital S and a capital O.
And that's all that means also is all you got to do is not spin the tires, don't miss a shift, hit your marks, and you will be in victory circle.
I believe what we learned last week is within the last 10 laps of the race there is no free pass, so no one got to go around.
Right now you're a lot like a pilot. You're in there, you're making your checklist, you're running your checklist. I got all my switches back on, maybe not now with just a couple of laps to go. I might cut off a couple of fans or something, but want to be sure you do all the right things here. All the cards are on the table.
Let's mention Dale Jarrett is running. He is still scored on the lead lap. He'll be able to roll around at least at speed enough to post a top 25 finish here, it looks like.
And just remember, by the new rules that came out the latter part of last year, should we get a caution in these final 2 laps, the minute the caution is displayed, the field will be frozen right there. They will not be racing back to the flag.
You know who else has stayed on the lead lap with all that front end damage? With old Brendan Gaughan. He's back in there.
Yeah, back in 20th position.
1 to go, Darrell. Who do you like?
Well, I got to like Kurt Busch. I mean, he's in the lead, and we're going to have 2 laps to go.
Well, you wanted a green-white checker finish. We're going to have one.
Well, I think it's going to be pretty exciting. I think the guy we got to watch is Kevin Harvick.
I think you're right. He's in 3rd place. Kurt Busch looking for career win number 9. Rusty Wallace looking for his 55th victory. It'll be green, white, checker. Here we go.
Rusty tried to anticipate that start.
He did a really good job. You better block him. Better block him.
Kurt Busch gets a good run off turn 2, though, Darrell. He pulls him by 1 car length, lap and a half to go.
Rusty had the bumper right there in turn 1, but Busch is driving away.
And right now, Rusty Wallace, white flag. He'll have his hands full with Kevin Harvick in that 29 car on those fresher tires. Kurt Busch pulls away by another car length down the backstretch.
Kurt Busch running. Oh, McMurray slides up the racetrack off Kenseth's bumper. Checkered flag, Kurt Busch.
Man.
I think Matt Kenseth in the 17 kind of drop-kicked Jamie McMurray in the 42 car.
And here comes McMurray, and there goes the 30 around. Here comes McMurray up here looking for the 17.
And after the flag, Sauter came down and ran in the back of somebody.
Here we go. And the line will start to form.
I told you, though, office.
Here he comes. He's still got him. He's mad. Turkey, you.
And he turned him around down on the apron. You're right.
And who did Johnny Sauter get down in turn 1 after the flag?
I think he was just trying to get slowed down. Somebody run into him.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
And you know, Kurt Busch has got to be a pretty happy young man right now. He won this race, and I don't think anybody's mad at him.
And I think he's going to do a display of burnouts for everyone here. He's already done it on the front stretch. Now he's down at turn 1 and 2.
Welcome to the Nextel Post-Race Show, brought to you by Nextel. NASCAR and Nextel, partners in speed. Oh, what do we show you first? Well, how about Jamie McMurray and Matt Kenseth?
Jamie did a whale of a job just to hang on to his race car. Then he gets bammed all over the place. Now he says, that wasn't very nice.
Now the race is over here. Checkered flag has been displayed. He's hunting that 17 car.
Trying to figure out exactly where do I want to hit him at. I just rub into him a little bit, and then Matt says, okay, so hopefully you're finished. Oops, maybe you're not. I had that coming, thank you.
And Matt is with a runner-up.
He's quiet from the race car, taking off his Hutchins device. Rusty, so close to number 10 here today.
Yeah, doggone it, man. We didn't need them last cautions. I was all over his rear end, just getting ready to pass him when the caution flag come out. Then it come out again. Then it come out again. Then it was 4 laps ago. I lost the power steering. His thing is hard as hell to turn. So that's it, man. I wanted that bad. So close.
It looked like he came close to his bumper going in the one there on the restart.
Yeah, I got down there. I just couldn't turn it. The thing was steering so hard I couldn't get the thing wheeled around on me. I just, yeah, it was just a racing deal. You know, it was green and white checkers. You just got to do what you can do. And we had a good second place run. Had his fastest car in the field all day long. And, man, I just hate to come up short like that.
To Dick.
Matt Kenseth finishes 5th. What was going on at the end between you and McMurray?
It was a good run. It just, you know, Jamie got into me by accident down there because I slowed down for the corner, and I got back into him here a little bit. But, you know, no harm, no foul. He didn't wreck me. He just knocked me out of the groove, and I did the same thing to him. So, you know, they say nice guys finish last, I guess. And I just, you know, try to be nice, and sometimes you're on the receiving end too much, you feel like. So it's no big deal. I mean, he didn't wreck. I didn't wreck, except for when he wrecked me on pit road. Wasn't necessary. But other than that, it was a great day for our DeWalt car. We didn't have a very good car. We just survived all day the best we could, hung in there, and, you know, waited until then and got some track position when we needed it.
And another top 5 finish.
All right, thanks, Dick Berger. And that's Kurt Busch. 4th win in Bristol in 5 tries with Jeff Hammond. Chris Myers, we're in victory lane, sipping the Powerade. He has done it once again, Jeff.
I'm telling you right now, this young man is incredible. As he said earlier in the week, he said, hey, I just rent me a room up here trying to match up to what Darrell Walter was doing all along. And that's winning here at Bristol, and he's got it down back, Chris.
All right, some fireworks, some confetti, mixture of booze because of the aggressive temper of Kurt Busch, but he held his temper in check and has. He's handled this race very well. Our Jeannie Zalasko is right behind us, so is the car, and Kurt Busch, the winner here today. Jeannie?
And got to get a hug from the crew chief. The crew waiting behind you. Only 3 drivers before yourself had won back-to-back races here at Bristol. We can add you to the list, and on behalf of one of our guys in the broadcast booth, he's done the same thing. Congratulations.
Thank you. This one by far has got to be the sweetest because of what we had to overcome. I don't know why the motor wouldn't run. We had about 1,000 RPM less all day today, which provided for great forward bite, so we were able to come off the corner good. But we were junk on restarts, and I just couldn't get the car to handle the right way all day. So we've got to go back and understand why, and just a tribute to this team on how we were able to adjust after Atlanta. We came to Darlington with a new program on what we thought we could do with this new tire, and for surely it's just unreal. I mean,
No, what was unreal was how many laps were you planning to stay out there, buddy? You didn't come in and pit. Your crew chief thought maybe you should come in. Maybe a little bit of a disagreement there. Everyone's happy now, but what was the communication problem there?
We had 20 laps on our tires, and it was about 140 to go, and I looked up in the mirror, and a couple guys didn't pit behind me, so I just jumped in front of that cone as far as the commitment cone and stayed out. But lo and behold, those guys were a lap down, so it was a decision that I was wrong on, and I had to bail myself out on. It's just an awesome day for this group. 40th anniversary for Sharpie. They brought a special paint scheme. Again, we got this thing in the victory lane. Phenomenal day. So just all of our associate sponsors with Coca-Cola, Kraft, Visa, Gillette, Young Guns. It's awesome to be part of this group and just keep digging. One race at a time, But when we get to the final 10, there's going to be no holding back. You got to let it rip.
You need your third Sharpie now to sign for that winner's check here at Bristol. Chris, congratulations.
All right, thanks, Jeannie. 25-year-old Kurt Busch, the baby face from Las Vegas, as we are in victory lane, where he is celebrating 4 wins and 5 tries at Bristol. We'll come back in just a moment, talk with some of the other competitors, try to figure out what happened behind Kurt Busch, which is always an adventure. You're watching NASCAR on Fox. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back to Bristol. This Coliseum-like structure conquered once again by Kurt Busch. His first top 5 finish this year, but he's a regular Jeff Hammond in victory lane right here. And behind us, Jimmy Fennig, his crew chief, Jack Rush, the owner.
Say congratulations,
yeah, we're running out of time. Good job, by the way.
Way to go, Jack.
And Jimmy Fennig said that the patience is, the greatest attribute that Kurt Busch has learned over the years that has helped to be successful here. Some people not so patient, Jeff.
Right.
We saw the backlash after the finish. And Steve Burns is with Jamie McMurray, who did finish 8th in the race, but there's some things to be discussed. Steve?
Yeah, thanks a lot, Chris. Now, Jamie, late in the race, you passed the 17 car, and tell us about what happened at the end of the race when you guys made contact.
Just trying to keep from running into Sterling. He was on a lot older tires, and we had our break there. Andy came on, so, don't do anything stupid. We got 2 cars in the top 5, and Donnie went down and talked to Robbie and acted like everything was cool. But, Matt hit me 2 or 3 times there going into turn 1 when we took the green, and then, I don't know. He's not typically like that, and I got into him a little bit, but just kind of got him out of the way so I could get by him, and that's the way you pass here. It's just one of those deals. I'm shocked that Matt acted that way.
All right, thanks a lot. Let's go to Matt Yoakum.
And Sterling Marlin, your second top 5 finish of the year. Did the 2 tires stop early? Did that start your day going in a better motion?
Well, it got us out of a lot of traffic. We was running around 10th and 10th to 12th all day, 8th to 10th, 12th, and just made a call. We tested and didn't really see much fall off the first 25 laps, and put 2 tires, gambled, and it worked good for us. Led, 100 laps or so, but got to halfway money. But proud of all the guys on the Coors Light team, done a good job, and we just a little loose in 1 and 2 all day. Never could get it quite right, and 3 and 4 was real good. But proud of everybody, and had some good pit stops, and ain't a dent on the car, so we're happy.
Third career top 5 finish here at Bristol for Sterling Marlin. To Dick.
It was a good day for Happy Harvick. He wound up finishing 3rd, best finish of the year so far. What would it have taken to get the additional 2 spots and win it?
Well, we had the right tire strategy. We just, when we got outside of Sterling Marlin there, we got tangled up a little bit and knocked this left front fender in. And from that point on, it was really, really tight. But good day for the GM Goodwin Chevrolet. We started off way tight and adjusted on it all day. And just listen to all these fans boo at the Sharpie driver. But must suck for the sponsor to have all the fans boo at him.
Nice job. Mike?
Our order of finish goes across the top of the screen. Darrell,
he just won't give up.
You'd think the race was over. Kurt Busch, well, he made that miscue call he talked about, and then he had to work his way through it.
Oh, yeah. Well, the games are over, and the gladiators are all finished. And, it's been a fun race. Not necessarily a typical Bristol race. A lot of green flag racing. I thought it was a pretty good day.
And, we talked in the beginning, you don't plan your strategy, you react to it. But I've got to give that a boy to the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company. There's been a lot of concerns about the tire this year, the changes that was made. It goes to show you when you have a good driving race car, because Kurt Busch ran 142 laps on that last set of tires.
And a great day for Ken Schrader. He had his best finish since 1998, winding up 6th today. Chris?
Congratulations to you, my friend.
All right, thanks, guys. Let's check out the points of the moment. 6 races for, remember, 26 before the top 10, and then 36. You see that Kurt Busch, Jeff Hammond, all the way up to 2nd with Dale Earnhardt Jr. 3rd, Tony Stewart up day 4.
I just want everybody to stop.
Everything's kind of tight right now, and Kurt Busch is trying to, kind of move everything up. It's just really going to be a tight kind of a situation as we progress on into Texas, Chris. But a lot of guys making statements here today in that top 10.
Have that shopping cart if you need it.
And, as we talk about a veteran like Rusty Wallace, this was his best chance to win in quite some time, but Kurt Busch runs this race like a veteran.
He owns this place right now. I think he took lessons from Darrell Waltrip as well as Rusty Wallace when it comes to know how to get to victory lane. He's got it down pat. You take care of your race car, you be patient, and you wind up here at the top of the building. All
right, 3 in a row for Kurt Busch. Of course, Darrell Waltrip won here 7 straight, 12 overall, but Rusty Wallace 2nd to Kurt Busch, Harvick 3rd, then Sterling Marlin and Matt Kenseth. That was the order of finish. Next week we'll be in Texas, the Super Speed, so hold on to your faces at that time. And forget the G-forces. They'll be on the HIJK and the Elemental P-forces. Well, Rusty Wallace, like an aging veteran, trying to remember his lines. He kept coming back 3-4 different times, leading the race. But 25-year-old Kurt Busch clutch in the end, calling Bristol his home, saying that you just try to survive here. That gives you the best chance to win. Thanks for watching NASCAR on Fox, where America gathers every weekend from Bristol. We'll see you next week in Texas. Take care. Have a good weekend.